Hello and welcome back to the Metro Grid. My name is Andre. How's everyone doing? Let's look at that really buttery fade out there. Nice, I think we nailed it. How's everyone doing? Welcome. Hopefully, if you're watching this live, you're having a good evening. If it's the VOD, it could be whenever you want. It is April 1st. We got a Wednesday night. We streamed a whole bunch of Netrunner just, what was it, Saturday? We did our store championship replacement. We streamed for like 7 hours. We had 16 players playing. You can check the VOD. It's like 7 hours long. Lost my voice a bit this weekend because of it, but we're back. It is a Wednesday. We're going to be streaming today. We're going to be streaming again tomorrow with our, regular kind of streams we do on Thursday. How's everyone doing? I don't think I announced that we're streaming tonight specifically because I didn't know, and my socials don't really exist, so hopefully this finds someone. Not too much special to do tonight. We're just going to be starting with the deck list of the week, give that a couple shots, see how that goes from there, and hopefully have some fun. How's everyone doing this evening? This actually was a deck list of the week that I was a bit concerned about, just because the theming. I think somebody did this on purpose considering how things are going on right now, but it's also like a theme that I haven't really had the time to explore. It was like a big part of the lore a while ago about some sort of disease that was released into Gamora, and then the effect that has. There's like a heck of a lot of cards to do with epidemic and a disease and quarantining and dealing with the disease. Fucking Louis Pasteur shows up and makes a basilisk, whatever exactly that is. I don't think that's how you pronounce it. So these are all the cards, and mostly they're condition cards, which aren't cards I've actually ever played. So I'm kind of excited for this. Maybe, I don't know, it's up to you to figure out whether that theme is tasteful or not, but we'll see it. Yo, Chris, what's up? Trying to invent a cocktail that uses blueberry syrup and yuzu, a Japanese citrus. That can't be terrible. That sounds actually pretty pleasant. Got a bit of tart, get a bit of citrus. How's it going, Chris? So I've actually not played this deck. I'm kind of excited to see it. It looks like it's pretty good at a lot of stuff. It's playing 9s and kings with 7 as backup. So I guess if we go, what do we do? Sort by suit, by value. We're looking at 9, 15, 7's 11, and then we have king 13. So maybe we can shoot in this thing, maybe we can't. But the whole big thing is we're playing with condition counters, and we have a whole lot of conditions. Cards like Incubation, cards like Tummy Twister. We got Backroom Deals, which is really cute with some of the, I forget which of these, one of these conditions increases the upkeep cost. Deliberate Infection. Again, this is where it's kind of on the line between being tasteful or not in terms of what's going on right now, but at least, I don't know, it's not virus counters. Now, a lot of conditions makes a lot of sense because we're actually starting with Gia, who's on the expensive side, 1 upkeep, but 7 to pay up front. And Gia lets you play some of these conditions for 2 costs cheaper, and it makes it pretty good because she becomes a stud, and then you can afford some of these cards that are like prohibitively expensive on turn 1. So I'm excited to see how this goes. I've played so few of these cards. So we'll see how it is. Otherwise, I don't know. We have some spells, and we're playing Soul Blast, which is really, really, really fun, especially if the opponents are playing like low value dudes. And this is some pretty good stuff. We have Sight Beyond Sight, which is pretty easy to fire in the town square or in a D just to make sure you're firing 4th ring every turn, which is a pretty good ability. I honestly don't know if the other abilities are comparable or better or worse, but it's something we have. And then we have Mark of Pestilence as well, just because it has something to do with disease. Whoa, expecting Netrunner. What game is this? Yeah, this could be Netrunner. So we're going to dive in, actually. This is our online way to play. This is argenteki.net. This was built recently by myself. It's good to have a way to play online. Hey, Maddie, how you doing? Oh, moving the cursor. So we have an opponent. We're going to share the deck list of the week and then see how things go from there. Maddie is just actually in the other room. So she can hear us if we talk pretty loud. So we're going to have to whisper if we're doing some cheating stuff. But she's playing the 108 Righteous Bandits, which she's been playing pretty consistently for now like months and winning more than she's losing, which is... that's good. That's progress. I'm actually pretty scared of these people. Now, noon boot, move your dude to the other locations. Basically, she's going to be booting and moving a lot, playing that chess on the table a fair bit. And she has, on top of that, she has Asakichi, which helps with that movement. She can move her people back and forth as she pleases. And on top of that, Long Way fucking Fu. I don't have any way to deal with this dude ever in my decks. And this guy makes all her shitters extra +1 stud. So even like boxed Zhao Dan Li comes in and fights pretty heavily, which is it's kind of great. So we'll see how this goes. Maddie, you good to go?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do my mulligan. Make sure you shuffle your deck. I'll shuffle it for you if you can. Oh, I got you. Don't worry, I got you. Oh yeah, okay. So we're gonna start from here and see how it goes. Let me know if the audio might be too loud. I don't know if the audio from the game comes in. It might not actually, but that's fine. Okay, so don't have a mulligan in this. We don't have any grifters. The deck online was talking about other grifters they could consider playing. We have actually some cool cards. This one's pretty fun. We have double incubation, which is good if we end up with someone booted at home. Arnold, probably affordable. We can pull pretty well, I guess. I don't know. And we can go in for low ball, so we'll start with paying 1 and see how our deck goes. Again, deck list of the week. We'll see how it goes from here. Fuck. So low ball, we're gonna try and lose this. Whoever gets the lower hand gets to go first and be the winner of the day. Maddie, you got pair of 2s. I got pair of 9s. By the way, Maddie, I am technically cheating. Cool. So we lose a joker. I gotta eat that joker, but otherwise Maddie takes us. So we lose, like, losing on low ball is kind of a big deal just because the money matters. I think we start with like $7, which is a pretty big deal, but we're gonna take one of these out. We just ace the joker. This deck is also playing Devil's Joker, which I've never played before. It makes your hand ranks higher, which apparently this deck wasn't very good at shooting, but unfortunately it also makes you cheating all the time. And Maddie's pretty good at punishing cheating. Yo, what's up, Padrake? Oh man, this is Deadlands? What are you talking about? 2, 4. Sorry, let me do the math. 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, upkeep. I'm gonna take 2. We have Gia to pay for upkeep. I don't know how long we can keep this ruse going. We basically hard pivoted on this channel into a Doomtown channel. This is Doomtown Reloaded. We're playing on Tabletop Simulator. This mod I actually made myself last night. We're gonna try a deck list of the week. Maddie, you're good to go. It's all good. Benjamin's being booted on the grifter's being booted. So one of her people can have fewer upkeep. So it looks like Longway's gonna have fewer upkeep. And we're coming down with a high binder hotel. Controller should have boots. Send your dude home booted. So someone's gonna have to run away, which is pretty good. Control on the table. That's income on the table. And from here, we don't actually have a really good opening. This is no spells, no deeds. No real way to make money. We can be kind of aggressive and try and control it. We can kind of throw Jackie into the fray. Not a real good way to do anything here. Discard a card if you discard a spell on Mr. Good Goods. Let's start the upkeep phase. Give one of your dudes -2 upkeep. That's a good card. Run the saloon, get those old West agendas. There's actually a fair bit of, like, I don't know if they're Netrunner references, but you'll find cards that have the same names as Netrunner cards, which is pretty great. Admittedly, this is meant to be a gag for a while. Doomtown, is that what it was? Couldn't remember. It's been forever. No, I think Deadlands is the same universe, same people. But we're going to pivot into a Doomtown channel for a bit, and then we'll see how the evening goes. This is good content. Arnold McCaddish, I really think we're just going to maybe pass through today. We can use Ambrose, discard a card. So I'm going to use Ambrose's ability, Maddie. I'm just going to put this on so we know we used him. Discard a card to give Ambrose +1 influence. So we technically have +1 influence today. I'm going to use a white influence just so we remember. And from here, discard a spell or mystical goods. You may unboot this outfit. So I'm going to get rid of incubation. Good enough. Just get cards at hand. Yo, Terrence, what's up? Yeah, we got some net running today. This one's a bit of, ooh, Jenks. That's 2 influence. There is a lot of upkeep on there. Maddie's economy might be a bit crunched at this point. I think taking her, taking some of her control points would be good. Did you get the influence for that, Maddie? Cool. I think we got to push for something. To take control of this, we need influence there on our dudes. And unfortunately, like, Jackie doesn't have any influence, as great as she is. Olivia janked. So maybe we can aggressively push for this. We can actually play a condition noon and then reduce its cost, but none of these conditions are actually playable. We need someone to get booted. Oh, we have someone to booted. Holy shit, check this shit out. Okay, so we're gonna use Gia Main's ability, play a condition noon, reducing its cost by 2 to make Gia a stud. So Gia's now a stud. And we're gonna make Benji over there, he's incubated. So he gets -1 bullets, -1 influence, -3 value, and it's just hopefully gonna be annoying enough. Maddie yells boo from the other room. Now Gia's also a stud, which is huge because she can contest things pretty heavily. Olivia walking into town square. Now that's good because it gets cards out of her hand, but Really don't have an aggressive play here. We might just want to hold on and pass the day. We'll pass today. Tell me there's a Zoro card in the game. I've been watching the old 30 Zoro. There isn't specifically a Zoro. The character is called El Grajo, which is the closest to. Maddie is passing. All right, end of day. Nobody wins. Maddie has... How do you have that much control, Maddie?
Nope, that was the thing.
Whoops. That's good. I got you. Okay, and so it's end of day. So every evening you check who has more control than influence, and if they do, they win. So nobody's won today. At the end of the turn, you can discard cards to draw up cards, or discard one and then draw back up the hand size. So we're gonna draw up. Oh, we drew that. That's terrible. That's really not any good. Okay, incubation's okay. Benji's gonna untap. Everyone's gonna untap, and Maddie's borrowing money for low ball. She is so damn broke. So, ooh, that's my pass token. We'll play one, and let's play some low ball poker. Oh, that's wrong. All right, so 5 cards off the top. So far, we're dealing with 3 of a kind cheating. We are at 3 of a kind cheating. Hopefully, Maddie does a bit worse than that. Maddie has pair. Fuck. All right, she takes it. She takes the money. Make sure you pay back 1. I'm gonna throw all that stuff out, and Maddie does her upkeep first. So Maddie gets 3 plus 2. I think she has to just pay 1 for long way, so she can end up with 4 credits this turn, or 4 ghost rock. Yeah, credits isn't right, is it? We are a bit worse off. We are only gaining 3, only have to pay 1 for upkeep, so we're just gonna gain 2. We're at a respectful 7 credits. Would not object to occasional Doomtown. It's been so long since I played this, it was rad as hell. Yeah, basically what we're gonna transition is we're probably not gonna finish this game, and just for the April Fool of it, we're gonna explain we're gonna teach how to play Doomtown. I feel like we can do an okay job, and the biggest thing is there's not a lot of resources to support it, and the fact that I got this up on Tabletop Simulator means it's actually incredibly playable, and I think this game is like rad as fuck. Maddie played the mayor's office. That's a lot of money, good upkeep, and she can boot this to raise or lower the influence of a dude at this or an adjacent location. Right now, everyone's adjacent to this because it's right next to her home. So that's bad. Our influence is kind of shit. It's kind of shit. Maddie is calling check. No, you're tied. You're not checked yet.
Oh, you're right.
Once Maddie gets 4 control, she'll have more control than we have influence, and we could lose the game at any point. And our deck is really not doing what we think we wanted to do. I'm going to give Valeria fetch. She is a huckster, so she can play spells. And this is a cheating resolution. So if Maddie cheats, we can boot this. You may place a card from our draw hand into our play hand after resolution. And if it's a shootout, you suffer 3 fewer casualties. So if Maddie cheats, she won't get away with the shootout. Maddie's booting to get rid of our incubation. Whatever, still counts. From here, we actually probably should have paid backroom deals just to save a credit or save a upkeep, but we missed it. And I think we actually have enough money here to spend 5 just to get Morgan Research Institute down on the table. It's a control point, which doesn't really help us too much, but more importantly, it is fuck. She immediately took it, and now we're checked, and we're probably gonna lose. She's a huckster, so she can play spells. This is one of her assassin people, isn't it? Yeah, kind of. I would seem so. From this point, we're kind of in checked, so I'm gonna use Ambrose Douglas to throw out a card from hand to get 1 influence this turn. So at least we're technically out of check. We're not gonna make any money this turn. I think maybe playing this was a mistake because we can't really defend it. We could put Gia if we're lucky. Boot a spell on Gia and pay 1 Ghost Rock to take in condition from your discard pile to your hand. Oh, maybe we needed to do that. Pay 1 Ghost Rock and then... Yeah, maybe we needed to do that. We're not firing this ability once, and we definitely should have played this last turn to save a credit. And Jackie doesn't give us influence, and we actually can't afford her. We dipped a bit too low. If we played this, we could have played Jackie, and we would have been good, as much as we wouldn't have had a card in hand. And Maddie has 5, so that's kind of scary. Card advantage is kind of a thing, just because it means like things. Happy Wednesday, what are we doing? We're playing some Netrunner. This is the deck list of the week. It's a disease deck, which... You know, maybe that's tasteless. I don't know. But we're playing a lot of the illness cards and the epidemic cards. What's up, Maddie?
Hey, it's your turn, no?
What did you do?
What did you do?
I did Ambrose.
Oh, cool. Pass.
Maddie's passing. Okay, we're gonna pass as well today, just to make sure we can squeak by. Passing. And Jackie is good for fights, but I feel like actually she's probably worth keeping. This card's worth a resource to us. I think we're gonna keep it as well. So hey, we passed through. Nobody's won yet. We're going to take our markers off Ambrose because they're only for the day, and we go on to another day where we survive. So starting with some, that's good. It's cheap. This is a good ass card. He's a bit expensive, but we'll get there. All right, Maddie, you borrowing for lowball? Goddamn shame. So, there's the spells we wanted. King 8, Jack 9, and King. So we pair kings. Not bad. Maddie's going to do better than that, right? What the fuck? She's got nothing, so she wins the low ball. You start the day by playing low ball. You want to get the lowest poker hand. It's a really cool mechanic because it punishes your deck for being really, really good. I'm pay you back for you. So Maddie, how much you make? She makes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and she pays off Jenks for 1, and she's choosing to pay off Long Way for 1, so she makes 5. Ours is a lot worse. We make 3, and we have to pay 1 for Gia, but I'm gonna play backroom deals, Maddie. Play at the start of upkeep. Face to give one of you dudes -2 upkeep until the end of the round. So we're gonna get our full 3 credits, which we desperately need. Winning low ball would have been sweet at some point, and we probably need to play this. Maddie, you start. Uh-oh, she's spending her money. We're very close to being checked. Dalmay is here. Okay, Dalmay, he's transient. He has a really strong ability. So transient cards kind of want to come and go pretty quickly. They have a really expensive upkeep. Oh man, if we kept the backroom deals. So Maddie's just moving Zhao down into town square. So I guess click compression. It's back to us. We're going to pay 1 to give Gia main Phantasm. It's fine. I feel like this deck really needs to use Gia's second ability, and I don't know enough what the conditions do. Got a notification, legit thought it was Thursday. Oh, that's tomorrow. We have a Thursday tomorrow. But yeah, the days blend together a bit, don't they? Maddie giving Zhao down 1 influence. Pretty good. We could drop the railroad station. The thing is, if we can't control it, we lose the game. That's scary. Oh, that's scary. Play condition. I think we have to use Gia's ability. I think we do. Yeah, we'll do Gia's ability. I'm using Gia's top ability, Maddie. Noon, play condition card. I'm just gonna remember it. Play condition card. Sorry, second one. Boot a spell on Gia. To take a condition from your discard pile and add it to your hand. We have to pay 1 for this ability. So I'm gonna pay 1 and I have to find a condition in our deck. This doesn't search by types because I built this, but when attached to this deed, this card attaches the first dude to move here. That's probably pretty bad for us. And we need to find a condition that's playable. I think that's the only condition. That's annoying. Oh, that's really annoying. Oh, wow. Woof. I guess we'll take it. I guess we'll try and take it? Oh, we missed. This is a bit of the malady that happens. And we have to attach this to deed, and then the first person to attach to join that deed gets an additional upkeep, which is gonna be rough. What are you talking about, Maddie?
I'm already there.
So no one else is gonna join?
Maybe.
There.
I see.
Gia's now a stud. That's important. It's really important. Maddie's passing. All right. Gia's gonna move in to here. Let's just make a bit more space, Maddie. So now I control it because I have more influence there, and I am the owner. So you win ties.
Yeah.
Maddie is calling me out. I will accept. Who's your posse? Okay, so Dalmay joins. He boots. Olivia Jenks is already there. They're all wanted. On my side, I think this is gonna go really poorly for us. It's a bit of a card salad too. Yeah, and I'll throw Christine in. So everyone besides Ambrose. This game needs a sure gamble card. It would totally fit. I wonder what the closest thing is. They might have it.
You ready?
Yeah, Maddie gets the first shootout play. Sun in your eyes. Choose a dude. They get -2 and become a draw. Who do you want to shoot? G has a 1 draw now. Not great. It goes back to us. We pass. Yeah, it's going to be really bad. Maddie's going to unload her whole hand on us. Wow, Murden Tomb Lounge. Headline. Your dude becomes a stud. Each posse's controller may search the deck and discard pile for an action card with a cheat and resolution ability. Reveal it and add it to their hand. The player added a card to their hand and may discard a card. Yeah, I'm in on that. I'll take it. So what is it, deck or discard pile? Yeah, okay. So we can find a cheat and punishment. I think one of the good ones we have is deliberate. Yeah, we'll try deliberate. Again, this is a disease deck. I keep missing my hand. So that kind of works. All right, Maddie, what did you add? No, we have to trash a card. We'll get rid of... Yeah, I guess we'll get rid of Kevin. We're going to lose before we can afford him. Back to you. I'm going to pass. Okay, Maddie, who's your shooter? All right, so how many do you draw? 8 flip 2?
Yeah.
All right, my shooter is going to be Gia. No, Christine. So I'm going to draw 6, flip 2. Your dude becomes... Sorry? Take your hand. Highlight all your hand, like drag a box around it. Flip them and put them on the table. Your dude becomes a stud. Yeah, it's really important. So we get to draw 6, and then we get a swap up to 2. And we want to make the best poker hand possible. Now, you notice some of these poker hands are wildly illegal and not even possible. Things like 5 of a kind on the basis they can have more than one card in this deck of the same type. Now, also, the cheating was probably an issue because... Oh, this is not good. Because we all have cheating resolutions in our hand. So we got to play legal. I'm going to try and swap these two, and hopefully that goes out well for us. Yeah, it's pretty bad, my friends. It's pretty bad. Ready?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Legal.
1 pair.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's game. We lose. Yeah, that's a good game. Yeah, we basically lost there. We think we misplayed the beginning, but this is good because we didn't actually want to play out this full thing. Let's say that. We want to teach how to play Doomtown. I guess the gag here is that we've transitioned into a Doomtown channel, which is obviously not true, but it's April Fool's, and we'll be back tomorrow. Yo, what's up, Cinco Netrunner? I'm gonna take this time and make some good internet content. If you like card games, this might suit you well. Good tutorials how to learn Doomtown online, and I'm not promising that this is going to be one, but it could be, and it'll be a modern one, which is good. I know the rules like pretty confidently, so we'll see where it starts. Maddie, I'm just going to destroy your deck.
Okay.
I'll just serve you a fresh, brand new one, and then we'll go through the rules. So you can have the copy. Maddie's going to be playing the deck she likes to play. Okay, let's start. It's not Emmer, it's Net Mosier. Ooh, Net Booter. Actually, it's probably more accurate. I wish I called the thing that. Okay, so Doomtown was an LCG that was printed by AEG a couple years ago. It came out at the same time as Netrunner was. And I don't know if you watched ever the video review that Shut Up and Sit Down did. They were like, wow, this game's really cool, but I already have a game in my life that fills this kind of like lifestyle game, and that's Netrunner, so I don't see why I would do another one, and they're not wrong. Now, this game had continued support from AEG for a long time. There was like a lot of what they called saddlebags and expansions, kind of like data packs. They did the same model, but less frequent. It was like every 2 months, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. And then at some point, AEG decided they couldn't support the game any longer, and the game died in a similar way how Netrunner was canceled by the people that they made it. Now, the cool thing is only a couple months after that, if I remember the story correctly, AEG, who I think let go of the people that were making Doomtown, they gave the rights to Doomtown to those people and said, if you want to pursue and continue supporting Doomtown on your own, here's everything. And they did. And since then, they've actually printed a lot of cards. We're waiting on the 3rd expansion, if I'm not mistaken. You can buy it in stores, you can buy it online. But one of the bigger things is they do distribution through like drive-through cards, which I know right now I'm pretty confident are closed due to epidemic stuff. And that's one of the things that we're going to be showing off today, that if you want to get into this game, there are a lot of cards. This game did exist for a long time, but you really don't need it. I think the price point might be $15 or $25 US, but Drive-Thru Games sells each of these decks separately. And I think a really cool thing, well, these decks are pretty balanced against one another, and they all like investigate a different part of the design space, let alone all 6 of the different factions. It's also interesting to know this game launched with only 4 factions, and then 2 got added in later and are pretty competitive and pretty cool factions still. But yeah, not only can you buy these starter decks, or I think they even have a print and play PDF for cheaper. I might be making that up. But you can also sell for an additional $5 or something. You can buy like a sideboard where it's like, here's an extra 10 to 12 cards for the deck that you could consider adding in and changing based off of your matchups or your playstyle, which I think is really cool. Tabletop Simulator Workshop content in general follows the rule of legal until publisher sends you cease and desist. Yeah. Makes sense. Wizard, what's up? This is our April Fools. We've kind of pivoted to a Doomtown channel today. So I'm teaching how to play Doomtown Reloaded, an LCG that is technically, well, it's very much still supported modernly, and it's kind of had the same rebirth story that Netrunner did. It's not played anywhere near as much as Netrunner from my understanding. Most of online play happens on Octagon, which you might know if you've been playing Netrunner for a really long time on the internet. But this is my tabletop simulator mod I built yesterday just to do this goof. We're going to teach the game starting now, but basically I think that's really important. These are all the cards in the game, and these are the starter decks. And Maddie chose the 108 Righteous Bandits, which she kicks ass with. It's an FFG game? No, it used to be an AEG game, and now it's run by Pinebox Entertainment. I think we're going to play Morgan, because I think Morgan might be one of the more simpler. It's all like horses. All these different IDs have like different like things, but some of them are more complicated than others. Not that like they're not fun or bad, but for teaching, we're going to pare it down at least. Okay, Doomtown. What is Doomtown? Doomtown is somewhat related to an RPG, Deadlands. I don't know. I don't actually know the backstory, but this used to be just like Netrunner, a collectible card game or an LCG card game in the 90s with like some pretty interesting art that's kind of all over the place. And that got canceled in a while, and then it got reborn into RPG series, and now we're here at Doomtown Reloaded a long time later. Reloaded is just like Android Netrunner, like the reborn experience. It's a game about a city called Gomorrah. We're each going to be playing a different faction, and we're going to basically be trying to control Gomorrah. This game has they have like 3 big resources you care about. There's Ghost Rock, which functions almost identically to credits. In Netrunner, you needed to play cards, to play locations, to pay people every day sometimes. But there's also 2 other resources. The chips in the bag are different. The ones that come in the game, they're these dinky cardboard chips. We're going to use, instead of poker chips, we normally play with poker chips, and we're going to be using checkers. And there's 2 resources you care about. One is influence. That's basically attached to your people running around the town, how much they influence the town. And then you have control. That's how much you control the town. Locations bring you control. If you control the bank, it's worth a lot of control. If you control, I don't know, a saloon, a casino, it's worth a lot of control. You win the game if at the end of the day, during sundown, if you have more control than your opponent has influence. So basically, if you own all the buildings, you own all the businesses, you own everything, it doesn't matter how cool the other people are as long as you control more than as cool as they are. That's a bad explanation, but the idea is you want to basically be getting control, and you get control from locations that you need to defend, or control locations other people played that you've stolen from them. So this is a game about controlling and about influence. This game plays... It has a really cool thing like Netrunner where there's a physicality of cards. It's not just like a play of dudes to a board game. It plays a lot like, the way I describe it is like Netrunner meets poker meets chess. The poker element will come in. It's very heavily in this game. A lot of this game comes down to actually playing poker in a very simplified but silly, kind of complicated way. But also a lot of it is about chess. It's about moving your people around to physical locations. It's kind of like Netrunner, where there's like a great physicality to things, where if you have a person, they have to be at a location, and where their location is, you start playing chess, where people start moving to locations and you try to get your opponents to move to your locations or away from your locations. It's really cool. Everybody starts with an identity card. Yeah, it's a very weird Wild West. Morgan Cattle Company, I think, is one of the wild or the weird parts. They're like the people that would end up building the mechanical spider. Wicca. Morgan Cattle Company, everyone starts with a faction ID. It's called your outfit, and this represents our home. The only 2 locations or 3 locations that start at the beginning of the game are your home, and this area between our 2 homes called the town square. Now, at our home, you start with dudes at the beginning of the game. You can choose which dudes you want to start with. These pre-built decks recommend you to start with, I think this is R5. You can start with up to 5. Maddie's deck is particularly special because this little shitter comes in a box, and he can start as an extra person. He sneaks in there. But normally you start with 5 people. And these are what they're called dudes. Dudes admittedly is a gendered term, or modernly largely, but I think dudes classically meant just people who worked on ranches, if I'm not mistaken. This game does pretty good representation, not too bad. And these are our people. You also notice the thing that all our people are 10 of spades, 3 of spades, jack of spades, ace of spades. This game does a really cool thing where the card types, or every single card that is in our deck, not only has all its abilities, costs, printed shit, photos, everything on it, but it also has, like a poker deck, like a bicycle deck, it has a value and a suit. And that really matters a lot. And you'll be finding out soon once we jump down this rabbit hole. But more specifically, all dudes are spades. Really great. All dudes are spades. And we're going to start with these 5 people. We'll talk about it soon. And let me catch up on chat. Yo, Maddie, what's up? That's Picori in chat. She's in the other room playing against us. Any chance of publishing sharing this TTS mod? I think I have to at some point now that we built this. There already is Doomtown Reloaded mods up on Tabletop Simulator. I couldn't find one that had all the cards, let alone like this board and stuff. It's worth noting that when you play Doomtown, when you buy Doomtown, they have these like starter mats that you play with that have locations and has a bunch of this information on the side. I don't like playing with them because, well, at some point you don't need them once you get more comfortable with it, but also they're not big enough the way I see it. Yeah, this is Doomtown. What's up, Beryl? Yeah, April Fools, we pivoted. Okay, so where do we start? Let's talk about dudes, and we'll talk about locations and moving, because this is the most important thing. Maddie, would you be so kind to just like put out a couple of deeds on your street?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we start at home, and these 5 people are going to start at home. You represent them being at home when they're kind of on this back line here. Now, this place is all about moving to different places, and right now I put 2 deeds on our side of the street. So, this is how the game starts, with your home, and in the middle you have a town square, and there's Maddie's home. These are our dudes. All our dudes are starting at home, and they can move. Cards can move. Dudes can move. And the rules for moving are a bit fucking obtuse. That's kind of a recurring theme with Doomtown, is I've played this game for so long, and the rule set is really good for making a dope-ass, fucking strategical, exciting game that are from somebody else. It's dope. But there are some rules that are a bit obtuse as shit. Let's start. I guess that's a good place to start with knowing what locations are. Just like all our dudes are spades, all our deeds, which are locations, they're called deeds, are diamonds, and these are 2 locations. You see that they'll have some subtypes, just like Netrunner. This is private and wrench subtype that matters for some cards. You notice all our deeds are diamonds, so this is a jack of diamond. And the most important thing, arguably, is that you see underneath the jack of diamonds, there's like this blue poker chip. That's control. When you play a deed, if it's not specifically an out-of-town deed, we'll get to that, you play it on your street. When you play a deed, you either have to play it to the left or the right of your street. Right now, our street has one thing, our home, so if we want to play the Hellstrom plant, we could play it here. Say the next deed I was playing at some point in my turn was this Gomorrah Gazette. We have to play it either to the right of our street or to the left of our street. Let's say that we chose to play it here. Now, these are locations that we control. Why do we control it? Because they're on our side of the street and nobody's there. So this would give us, at the end of the day, 1 control point because this has 1 blue chit on it, and 2 control points because this has 2 blue chits. So I'm going to just control it here. At the end of a day, which is basically at the end of a whole round, if I ever have more control than Maddie has influence, I win the game. So I need to protect these places, and I need to play more places to win the game usually. Okay. So I just want to put some deeds on the table. Maddie put some deeds, so she has 2 deeds. This one's not worth control points. It's still a pretty good place. And she's putting out on her side of the street. And I just want to do this to talk a bit about movement, because movement is a bit obtuse. This game has not exactly a click economy. Wow, we're all over the place. But on this game, basically, if it's your turn, you take an action or you pass. Then it's your opponent's turn. They take an action, then they pass. And it keeps going back and forward until both players pass concurrently. If I pass and my opponent goes, it can go back to me, and even though I passed before, I can still do something. So when you pass, you're not saying I'm out for the whole day. You say, basically, you can go first. And if they choose to pass, the day is over, and you go to a phase called sundown. And at the end of sundown, that's where you check if someone's won the game, if they have more control than influence. And during your turn, each turn, you basically can make 1 play. And there's like 4 or 5 different plays. It's technically pretty simple. Like you can play a card, you can move a card, you can try to do a shootout, you can buy a good. It's pretty simple. You just basically do one thing, your opponent does one thing, and you keep going back and forth. And that's where you get that sort of Wild West tension. Now, movement is one of the things you can do on your turn. It's incredibly important to move. Otherwise, it's not impossible to win the game. Some decks are wild, but it's pretty important. When you move, you can take any of your dudes and you can move them to any other location on the board. So you can move them to the town square. You can move them to a deed, which means they're at the deed. You can move them to your opponent's deed, which means they're at your opponent's deed. You can move them to your opponent's home. That's wild. You can do it. But basically, you can move a person anywhere as an action. But if you do that, you have to boot your dude. If I wanted to move Irving all the way from my home to Maddie's the orphanage, I would have to boot him. And booting him is kind of like tapping in Magic. It means that they're tired today, and it's a huge liability. Because once a person is booted, there is very few things they can do. Almost nothing they can do on their turn until the next day where everybody unboots at the end of the day. So if you boot someone, it means they're exhausted. And a big part of the chess of this game is try to boot people or put them into positions where they're booted. And it's a really big deal. So you can move anywhere, but you have to boot to do it, which is a huge cost. But there's some exceptions. If you're at home, you can move to any adjacent location without booting. This game cares about adjacency. Some locations are adjacent to one another. Adjacency is explained better on some of the starting mats that you play with when you're new to the game. But basically, you can move from home to town square. That's adjacent. So Maggie can move from home to town square without booting. It's a good play. Technically, the deed here is also adjacent to my home. So Maggie can move from here to the Hellstrom plant without booting. Good stuff. Can Maggie move from our home to the Gomorrah Gazette? No, she could, but she'd have to boot because it's not adjacent. So if you want to move to an adjacent location from your home, you don't have to boot. And that's huge because people can come out and stand in the town square real tough without being fucking flattened by being booted. Okay, the other only condition is you can move from your town square to any adjacent location, and basically everything on the street is adjacent to the town square. That's kind of how the town square works. Cool. Now, there is some conditionality on top of that conditionality, and that is basically you can't do any of that in the reverse. So if I'm in town square, Maggie can't move back home without booting. She can move from the home to the town square, but from the town square home, no. Same thing, Maggie can move from her home to the Hellstrom plant, but she can't move from the Hellstrom plant back home unless she boots. Because remember, you can move anywhere to anywhere as long as you boot. Also, if you're in the Gomorrah Gazette and you want to move to town square, you have to boot. There is the conditionality. Basically, every place, you can go from anywhere to anywhere booting, but the only rules of when that's not true and you don't have to boot is from your home to any adjacent location, or from the town square to any adjacent location besides back home. A lot of this has to do with like retreating. If you retreat, they usually boots you. So if you go like, oh fuck, I'm going home, that's gonna boot you. But those are the rules, and it's really important to know. You can move from anywhere to anywhere, booting, but the only conditions from home to the town square and from the town square to any adjacent location besides back home. Now, why would you want to move to locations? Because again, as we said, at the end of the day, whoever has more control points wins at the end of the day. If they have more control points than the opposing person's influence, the opposing player's influence. It's also worth noting that you can play this with up to 4 players. I played with 3 players once, and I thought it was a bit of a mess. I know people do play this with up to 4 players, and then it opens up more like table talk and king making and king queen breaking and all that sort of stuff. I haven't done this. I play this game exclusively as a 1v1 game, and I'm very, very happy with it as that. I'm not that interested in playing with more players, but you could. You could. I don't even know how the rules work at that point. Anywho, so yes, why would we want to move to an opposing location? Because if I'm at Maddie's location and I have more influence there, this location is now mine. So right now, Maddie controls the orphanage, which is worth a control point. Maddie also controls Joker Smile. But as soon as Irving walks in there and now I have 2 influence there, that orphanage is now my control point. And maybe that's what's going to cause me to win the game. So Maddie would probably want to go there and control it back. So say Maddie moves in with Randall. Now, if you own the location, if it's on your side of the street, you win ties. It does benefit defenders. So Randall would be there with 2 influence. I'd be there with 2 influence. But because it's technically Maddie's card, she wins ties, so she takes the control back. So that's a really big thing why posturing around the street matters, because at the end of the day, say like, I don't know, Asakichi comes over here, she has 1 influence, Maddie now controls my Hellstrom plant, so maybe I need to send somebody in there. You know, a lot of cards don't have influence. So if I'm here, Maddie still has more influence, so even though it's still hers. So the only way that I'm going to have to be able to wrestle this Hellstrom plant back is by bringing more people there, more dudes there, or getting into some situation where Maddie either goes home out of choice or goes home because Asakichi gets shot in the head. This game does deal with combat. It does it with shootouts. It does all of that through poker. It is fascinating, but the game does deal with this tension of like posturing around the board, but inevitably there is going to be some sort of fight, and that's done through a shootout, and we'll talk about it in a second. So right now we understand control, we understand movement, hopefully, and there's not that many other parts to deal with. Let me just catch them chat. Technically it can support 6, but I can't imagine playing with more than 2. Oh, fucking can support 6? Yeah, that's nuts. Okay, let's talk about some of the values on cards, I guess. This is a person, this is a person, these are dudes. Sorry, these are deeds. Deeds have a bunch of numbers on them that matter. Deeds have a value and a suit. I keep saying deeds. All dudes are going to be spades, and then they have an influence. That's how much influence they're worth, and that's important because if I have more influence, it's harder for the opponent to win a game if you have a lot of influence. Also, influence is what helps you control a location. So if Billy is here with 1 influence, I control it because I have more influence there than Maddie. Maddie would win ties because it's her place. On top of that, you have a bullet. Bullets are what you use for shooting. When you can, as an action, if you have somebody who's unbooted at a location of somebody else who's just somebody else, you can spend your action that day to call them out. And that's basically you saying to the person on the other side of the table or at the same location, hey, I want to do a shootout. And the opponent can choose to accept or choose to refuse. If they are unbooted, they can refuse, like booting people or choosing not to boot them on the basis that not only can they barely do anything the rest of the turn, they can't move really, but also they're very vulnerable to being called out. So how does a shootout work? Oh my God, the rules to this game are a bit wild. All right, fuck, this game there's so much to this game. Maddie walked away from her computer because it's gonna take a second. Okay, so say Maddie accepts my shootout. A couple things happen. We're going to skip over a bunch of them. There's some things called shootout plays where people go back and forth playing cards from their hand that modify the shootout. Sometimes somebody pulls out a knife. Sometimes the sun is in your eyes. Sometimes your gun jams. Sometimes a dog shows up. Wild things can happen. This is called you take shootout actions, and you basically take turns playing cards that will modify the shootout. You go back and forth until both players have said, I'm done with this, and then you go on to the actual shootout. The actual shootout is done by playing poker. And I'm not a very big poker player, so I don't know how far these rules divulge from regular poker, or how far they, not divulge, differ from regular poker. But the idea is that in a shootout, you have a posse. And you form your posses earlier in the shootout. When somebody calls someone out, they accept, you both form posses. The person challenging does it first. So say these 2 players are here, they can join the posse. I'm going to go quickly over these rules because once we get into an actual game, it'll be a bit more obvious. But say these 2 are the people representing my posse in the shootout, Henry and Buckin. And say Maddie only has a shitty Randall as her defense in her shootout. It's okay, Maddie, if we simulate a shootout?
Okay.
Cool, thank you. So once we get to the shootout, you have to look at the kind of bullets you have in your posse. There's 2 kinds of bullets. The number matters on the bullet, and the color of the bullet matters. In Doomtown, largely silver bullets, they're called stud bullets, are better bullets. These brass bullets are called draw bullets, and they're just not as good. They change how each bullet does something to your hand when you're playing poker. You want to generally have the best poker hand, and stud bullets are a bit better at letting you get there. So say we've got through all the shootout rounds, we made posses, and we're now shooting out. You have to decide who your shooter is in your posse. So basically you want to pick one person in your posse who's going to be your primary shooter. A lot of times you're going to pick the person with the highest number, and usually the person with the highest number of silver bullets, stud bullets, because they're better. Normally what we do here is we'd play poker. So you always start with drawing a hand of 5 cards in our game of poker. So I'm going to draw 5. I'm going to say Buck and Billy Ballard is my shooter. So we look at his type of bullets and the number of his bullets, and we get that as a bonus. So Billy has a stud bullet bonus of 1. What studs mean is when you draw your poker hand, draw that many extra cards. So Billy is going to give us an extra card. We're on 6 cards in hand when we play poker. All right, so let's play some poker. I'm going to bring the 6 cards to my hand. And we're trying to build the best poker hand possible out of our 6 cards. You'll notice a couple wild things. We're not playing with a legal deck of 52. We actually have multiple values on the same value. Like we might have multiple 8 of clubs in our deck, which is wild because you notice here the poker hand ranks, they're kind of way different than normal poker because you start to see things that aren't possible in normal poker. A lot of that comes to the top where you see 5 of a kind, which is technically possible because our decks are a bit weird. And above that, you see something that doesn't exist in poker called Dead Man's Hand, which is exactly if you get those 5 things all together, you get the highest hand rank. To win a shootout, you want to get the highest hand rank possible, so showing 2 pairs is a lot worse than showing 4 of a kind. The difference of how worse it is means how many casualties your opponent will be taking, so we're going to try and aim as high as we can on that chart. Now, we talked about our big shooter Bucky, who gave us 1 extra card. What about Henry? I actually picked the wrong shooter in this example, and you'll see why. Henry, anybody who's not your shooter is just backup in your posse, and the number on their bullet doesn't matter, just the color of the bullet matters. So Henry is at a brass bullet. Brass bullets are worse than studs. They don't make you draw an extra card. What they make you do is once you've drawn your full hand, you can choose to discard up to as many cards and then redraw it. So it's going to be like another card, but you don't know what you're going to draw. So it's less easy to build the perfect hand. Yo, Marc-Andre, how's it going? So for instance, our deck, we have 2 8s and 2 5s, which is a pretty good start. If we draw another 8 or another 5, we can have a full house, which is great. I don't know whether my deck has more queens or 7s, unfortunately. I don't know my draw structure. So I'm going to use Henry's draw bullet to discard the queen and draw another card. And we fucking nailed it. We have 8, 8, 5, 5. If we do it like that, you see, now once you've done all your like choosing your hands and stuff, you want to display the top 5 cards to build hopefully what you think is the best hand. So we're going to show these 5 cards as our poker hand, and we're going to throw out Adrian Vallejo. Maddie on the other side of the table seems to have done a very similar thing. She has played 2 aces and 3 2s. So right now her hand rank is a full house, which is a 7. Our hand rank is a full house, which is a 7, so we're tied. But there's a very interesting thing going on Maddie's side of the table, and that is that she has 2 2 hearts in her hand, which means that if you played this at a normal poker table, you'd be cheating. And that's a really big deal in this game. If you do this where you play 2 of the same value in the same hand, it's very easy to make a better hand. But it also makes your hand cheating, which is sometimes something that your opponents can punish. Let me just jump into chat. He had 2 bronze bullets. You can only discard 1 card. Yes, and that's parallel because specifically he wasn't our shooter. And I think we fucked this up if you actually understand now how this whole thing works. Your shooter, you get the number and the value. For everybody else who's not your shooter in your posse, you just get the value and it counts as a 1. No matter what the number was, even if it was a 0. So in theory, we did not pick the best shooter. If we picked Henry Moran as our shooter, we would get 2 draw, so we get to discard 2 cards and redraw 2 cards, but we'd still get Billy's 1 stud because it doesn't care what number's on that. So if we picked Henry as our shooter, we'd actually be able to still draw 6, but then exchange 2. We fucked up and we draw 6, exchange 1 because your shooter, you only get the color. The number doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm confused by the lack of Netrunner. April Fools, my friends. All right, so this is the point in time where after we do a shootout, we go to resolutions and we each take turns playing a resolution card. I'm just going to show something that basically every card has. And that's cheat and resolution cards, which I don't know which cheat and resolution cards our deck runs, but this is kind of a really big deal, is that we all be having a hand of cards usually in the day, and if your opponent cheats, you get the ability to play a cheating resolution card, and these are really strong as fuck abilities that you won't ever know if your opponent has in their hand, but they very much punish you cheating, because cheating is a really good way to get a good hand illegally. Notice 5 of a kind, there's almost no way to get that without cheating. It's a dope ass hand, but you have to kind of risk the fact that your opponent might say, hey Maddie, you cheated, this'll hurt in the morning. And this card says cheating resolution, so the only time you can play it, paying the cost in the corner, which is 0, is when your opponent shows a cheating hand. Choose and discard 1 or 2 cards in the opponent's illegal hand, replace them with cards drawn from the top of the owner's deck. So we're going to try and fuck up Maddie's hand. So we're going to throw out an ace and a 2 and redraw them. She gets another 2, shit, and a 3. So Maddie's full house went to a 3 of a kind. It also says if your hand is legal, then for each card discarded, you may do something else. Don't worry about the text for now. But basically, Maddie cheated and she got punished for it, which is a big deal in this game because, again, cheating is one of the easiest ways to get a good hand. There's always this tension of being like, oh, fuck, do I cheat? Or sometimes you're forced to cheat because you draw 5 cards and they're all the fucking same. It can be really fun. You notice now Maddie has 3 of a kind. We have a full house. So you look at the chart, unless Maddie has another resolution to play, which she could, but we didn't actually have a play hand, so that's not going to happen. And we notice the difference between 3 of a kind, 4, and full house at a 7 is 3. So Maddie now has to take 3 casualties. Maddie just groaned from the other room. What a casualty is you have to take cards that are in the shootout that were in your posse, and you either have to, they're going to get hurt. So the two things you can do when taking casualties, you can discard a card. So Randall could be discarded to cover one casualty. That means Randall just goes over to the discard bin, and eventually he'll show up again, because you do get through your deck pretty quickly in this game, especially if you're playing a lot of poker, which rips, like, we went through like 8 cards that poker hand. Now, to cover 2 casualties, you can ace someone. That means that they go to Boot Hill. They're aced, and that covers 2 casualties. If Maddie had, say there was like 3 people in the fight here, Maddie has some good choices. Maddie could discard all 3 of them, which could be disastrous, or Maddie could ace one of them to cover 2 casualties and discard 1 to cover 3 casualties and have still someone standing. So you have to fill your casualties as close as possible, like as much as possible. If she only had 1 person, she couldn't choose to discard them. She'd have to ace them, even though that's not the full 3 casualties. You have to do as much as you can. When somebody's aced, it's huge because they are killed. And if Maddie has other Randalls in their deck, she can't play them. Because in the canon of this city, Randall is burned. And that's going to be a problem. That's actually a mechanic some of the factions. First, the fact that Randall got aced there, Maddie doesn't have that much influence anymore. She has Asakichi who has 1, Long Wei who has 1, and that's it. So we have 1, 2, 3 control points. If Maddie does nothing for some reason and passes, we will win the game, and that's over. That is the basics of shootouts by glazing over so fucking much of it, but I think that's the easiest way to learn. This deck that we're playing, Maddie's deck, is actually pretty simple. It's just a lot of dudes on the ground and a high ability to be able to move them around and do some really cool tricks. My deck is largely the same, the deck that I'm playing, the starter deck. It has horses in it, which is a really cool way to move your people around really aggressively, and we're ranchers, so we get pretty good value out of horses. Is there a way to get 5 of a kind without cheating? There is. Also, Maui, what's up? Craziest A&R altars. There is a way to get 5 of a kind out of cheating, and that is, I'll just show you. You can put these in your deck. Basically, everybody does. There's very little reason not to, but every deck can start with 2 jokers. When you draw a joker, you can make it any value, any suit as you want. It'll never be considered cheating as long as you play with regular jokers. There's actually other kinds of jokers. The thing is, jokers are used once, and once they show up in a poker hand, they have to be aced. So you get 1 good shot, usually at the beginning of the game, to get like a legal 5 of a kind or some crazy nonsense. So there is a way to make a legal 5 of a kind. It is technically possible. As rare as it is. Yeah, it's wild. This game is like fucking really good, as obtuse as some of the rules are. But knowing everything that we know now, which is not a lot, maybe it is a lot. Basically, people are worth influence. Influence is what we need to move to places to control other things. Also, if we have a lot of influence, it's going to be hard for the opposition to have more control than we have influence. So we can probably survive another day. We're going to be going back and forth, each taking an action 1 at a time until both of us pass, and then we go to the end of the day, to the sundown it's called, and then we check who has more control. If nobody does, we go on to the second day. And that's largely the game. Shootouts are a bit more nuanced because we skipped shootout plays, we skipped forming posses, we skipped all that stuff. But we're going to get to it now because Maddie and I are going to play a game of Doomtown. Please, if you have questions, throw them into the chat because we'll be answering everything. I'm going to be going through all the phases properly. We're going to be explaining everything. I'm going to be explaining all my strategy aloud. So Maddie is going to crush us, which is fine. But we're basically going to be playing with these starter decks, which you can get for a relatively cheap cost on the internet as print and play, or I think they may offer PDFs for even cheaper. This game is worth checking out. Why do I have 2 decks here?
Cheater.
Maddie called me a cheater. Does she have a cheating resolution? Oh, this is the old deck we played. I'm gonna nuke it. All right, Maddie, I'm just worried I fucked up my deck, so I'm just gonna get a fresh one.
Okay.
You want to play a game?
Yeah.
All right. I'm just going to eat all these cards and then delete all of them. And here we go. This is a mod, by the way, I made a Tabletop Simulator. Is Doomtown still a living game? Yes. After the game got canned, they sold or gave away the rights to the people originally making it, and they started a new company, I think. Don't quote me, but quote me on the fact that they are regularly printing more cards. I went to a tournament a couple months ago. We had 10 players. It was really good. Game's fun. Game is really fun. All right, beginning of game, how it starts, there's a couple things. Every faction has 2 numbers on the bottom. 18 is how much currency we start with. This game calls the currency Ghost Rock. That +3 is during our upkeep phase, we'll be gaining 3 credits every turn, 3 Ghost Rock. I'll be saying credits or Ghost Rock interchangeably based on how I feel at that moment. These are also starting dudes. You can start with up to 5 dudes. The thing is, when they start, you have to pay for their cost. So it's up to you to decide who to start with. You could start with really expensive 1 fucking dude, or you could start with 5 little shitters, or in Maddie's case, 6 little shitters, because this guy got shipped in a box. And you have to pay for the cost. So Bucky Billard is 6, 7 for Henry, 8, 9 for Maggie, 10, 11, 12, 13 for Vita, 14, 15, 16 for Irving. So that means we only start with 8 credits. That seems, or 2 credits, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's brutal. So we're going to start with 2 Ghost Rock. Also, our starting influence matters. We start with 1, 2, 3, 4 influence. So we're starting with 4 influence. The game, what's buck wild to me is the game does, I think in the rulebook, recommend for you to actually keep track of your influence or control. It's a very common grifter that lets you take a mulligan. Not everybody plays him. We're not playing him. So this is our opening hand. You draw 5. And then you come, this is the, I don't know what it's called, Sun Up or something. I don't know what this phase is called technically, but it's a really exciting phase because you play low ball poker. So we each have to ante up. We all pay Ghost 1, Ghost Rock. This is called our winner's badge. This is just a quarter that I found on Tabletop Simulator. We're going to use this to designate who the first player is every day. And the beginning of every day is played by anteing up 1 Ghost Rock and playing low ball poker. So no tricks here, just the top 5 cards of your deck. And you're trying to build low ball, so we're trying to build the worst poker hand possible. Currently, I have 2 pairs, 8s cheating. Maddie has fuck all. It's hard because it's upside down, but Maddie has high cards. She has nothing. Whoever has the lowest hand gets to keep all the money and gets to be the first player. And I think this is such a cool mechanic because it's really easy for you to build a dope-ass deck that just wins poker all the fucking time, but it punishes you because in this round, you actually want to lose poker. So it actually incentivizes you in deck building to add cards that are outside of your common values. Like say I don't have a lot of 7s in my deck, but maybe I put 3 7s in it just so more consistently I would brick on low ball. It's dope. I also was cheating here, so if Maddie had a cheating resolution, she could decide to play it. A lot of the cheating resolutions are better to play during shootouts because they punish harder, but it was an option for Maddie. Now we go to upkeep. Upkeep, you check all your things that make money. So this card, you see in the bottom right corner, it says +3. So Maddie will make that much money. And then you notice a lot of, not a lot, but usually the bigger dudes in the bottom right corner at the same spot, they have another cost. That's their upkeep. So every turn you have to pay that upkeep if you want this person to stay. So Maddie would gain 3 and then pay 1 back. She did this, so she saves the upkeep this turn. Don't worry about it. Let's look at ours. So Maddie did her upkeep. We get 3 money, and then only one of our dudes has upkeep, which is Billy. So I'm going to choose to keep Billy because we chose to play with him. So I'll just make 2 Ghost Rock. Maddie is the first player, so she gets to make the first turn. Maddie is playing Pettigrew's Pawn Shop. This is a deed. The cost to play a card is in the bottom left corner. So this gives her, she pays 3. This will give her +1 upkeep. But more importantly, after a player plays a non-gadget good, so basically plays a good, they get a Ghost Rock, which is dope. If I control that location by having more influence there, she wins tides, I get that ability. But right now, Maddie does. So if we play a goods card, the type of card we haven't talked about, all the hearts are goods cards. Those are things that you attach to people. Maddie would gain $1. It's probably a pretty good opening. Is the lore to why it's called Ghost Rock? There is. I never played the RPG, so I don't fully know it. But basically, this is some sort of magic, pseudo-magical currency that kind of showed up when all the weird stuff happened in the Wild West. Admittedly, the decks that we're playing are going to be the most grounded decks. I like the factions of this game because they do pretty good in terms of representation of the Wild West. It's not just like cowboys. For instance, Maddie's faction is the 108 Righteous Bandits. When the game got rebought, they were rebranded to Anarchists. But from my understanding, it's largely immigrants and people who are kind of downtrodden on by society. So you see specifically, there's a lot of Chinese people, there's Irish people, like there's a lot of representation. There's also some just wild stuff, like there's a monkey, but like, yeah, it's cool. But we're not going to be seeing a lot of the Weird West. For instance, one of the factions that we played earlier today is the Fourth Ring, and they do magic. They have abominations. They bring people in from the dead. They can do fucking magic. And Ghost Rock is meant to represent this like currency that happened when the Wild Weird West sort of thing happened. I don't know the full story, but it's meant to have some mystical capabilities. Also, in theory, the 108 Righteous Bandits sometimes do Kung Fu. Which is kind of like a cheesy, wild, Weird West thing, but this deck isn't going to be doing any Kung Fu. All right, it's back to us. I guess we could talk a bit about our dudes. This is Buckin, Billy Ballard. He's good if he has a horse. He gets better at shooting, gets more influence. We don't have a horse. Henry Moran. Oh, Maddie, I had to use Henry Moran. Fuck. I forgot about them. Henry Moran is meant to be the unluckiest dude. If you show an illegal hand during a low ball, you discard it and do another one, but Henry gets booted. So it prevents you cheating on low ball, but we forgot to do that, so we're just going to play it over. Maggie is really big deal. Fucking jobs are kind of a very hard thing to explain this early into the game, but they're basically like shootouts. So you're saying a shootout is happening now. Do you contest it or do you not? We might do this, so you'll hear about it. But she's good at finding horses from our discard pile and playing them, which is good because we're all about horses. Vita, also some horse support. You see a theme here. She gets to discard a card and choose a dude with a horse at this or adjacent location. You can unboot that horse and you can use it again, which is really good. She basically does well with horses. And then you have Irving, who's kind of a staple in a lot of Morgan decks. Morgan Cattle Company is meant to be like the rich cattle company. They've been rebranded to the entrepreneurs. They represent a lot of gadgets. There's a lot of like weird Wild West gadget, like fucking laser guns and like tanks that drill through rocks and shit. He's kind of a standard dude. Every also faction has an ability. Ours lets us play a deed, reducing that cost by the dude's influence. So a lot of times we'd throw Irving in there and basically say, Irving, go make this place cheaper. But that dude has to go there booted, which can be pretty scary because that person can't refuse a call out. So we're going to try Maggie. Maggie only works if we have a horse in our discard pile. So I'm just going to search our horse discard pile. We'd have no horses in our discard pile. Maggie, you failed us. So that's not good. As a deed, control 1 point, range, play, read the value of 3. Okay, well, you know what? You know what? We ain't scared of Maddie, are we? Maddie, don't murder me turn 1, please. I'm going to use our ability. Any ability that doesn't say the word repeat on it can be only used once a turn. But most importantly, anything that says boot as a cost, you have to boot that card, and you can't boot a card twice, so it's pretty obvious you can only do this once. So noon boot your dude to play a deed, reducing that deed's cost by the dude's influence, move that dude there, booted to that deed. So we're going to use that, and we're going to play the cattle market, which is worth no control points. It is expensive, but it gives us +2 upkeep, which is good because money's not good right now. And we got to move Irvin there booted. And we can reduce the cost of this by Irvin's influence, which is 2. So we're only gonna pay 2 for this. So I'm gonna just take 2 Ghost Rock and put it over there. Irvin is booted though. So if Maddie moves in there, she can call him out. Maddie, please don't do that. But it's technically a bad play right now because we're not really good at fighting turn 1, but we'll get there. This deed is also worth 1 control point if another ranch is in play. We have a lot of ranches, mind you. We are a cattle company, so we'll get there. And all dudes have their value raised by 3. The value is the number in the top left corner, so this ace is technically a 4. Why would that matter? In theory, the lower value the dude is, usually the easier they are to fuck with when it comes to like magic. It has to do with like basically all the heavy hitters, all the people that like own the gangs and own the companies or are the most mystical. They usually have higher values. Is how the game has some really cool balance when it comes to this sort of stuff. But there's a reason why you'd want to increase their value sometimes. Anyways, we don't get a control point, but we have something that makes us money, which is cool. We only have 1 Ghost Rock. Maddie's passing, so it's back to us. If we pass, we go to the end of the day. I'm going to do that because we don't really have much to do here. I'm going to pass. So we both passed. So we check at the end of the day. Does Maddie have more control than me? My influence? No. Do I have more control than her? Obviously no. So end of day, what happens? Everything unboots. You can discard up to 1 card and draw back up to your hand size. I'm going to throw out a Joker because Jokers literally do nothing in your hand. And we draw 2. What do we got? Our first horse. This is a really good horse. And we have another good. All the hearts cards are goods. One of the actions you can do on your turn is called shopping. You take somebody who's at a location you control, you pay the cost here, and that person gets this. They all have traits, weapons, attire, horse. Everybody can only have 1 of each. So you can't ride 2 horses. You can't have 2 weapons. None of that will work. So giving someone a gun is a pretty good start. All right, so beginning of turn. We play low ball, so everyone antes up a Ghost Rock, and we play low ball. We want to get the worst hand possible. King 5, 7, 4, 7. We got pair of 7s legal. Maddie has 2 pairs cheating, so we have a worse hand. If you notice the chart, 2 pairs is worse than 2 pairs is better than 1 pair. We want the lowest hand, so we'll take. No, I don't have a cheating resolution. Maddie asked if I have a cheating resolution. Technically, because she cheated. If we had a card that said cheating resolution that we wanted to play, we could do it. All these cards are discarded. I technically do my upkeep first because I'm the winner. So we check all the places we control. +3, +5. So we have 5 Ghost Rock, and we're going to choose to pay 1 to keep Billy around. So we're going to make 4 this turn. So we're sitting on 6 money. Pretty good. Maddie, she makes 3 plus 1, which is 4, and then she pays 1 probably to keep Longway around, and she'll just get 3 Ghost Rock off the top. Longway is a huge card in her deck. I know I'm not going to read her cards because we want to keep them, keep this as approachable as we can. But Longway is a motherfucker at shooting for a low cost. 108 Righteous Bandits has a lot of that kind of like dude swarm, and they're pretty good. I assume the quick draw handgun needs to be in play before cheating. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Any good needs to be played. If it's a club card like this, that's an action card. That's a card that you can play if it said Cheating Resolution on it. So we got to go first because we have the first player. Please, if you have any questions, do ask. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go shopping for action. So we're gonna play Pedro. Pedro is a horse. It costs 0. It's cheap. It's a donkey, and it says this dude cannot be moved by opposing card effects. So some card effects will be like send your dude home booted. Anyone who has Pedro won't have it, and I'm putting Pedro on Buck and Billy Ballard. Maddie, you can get a credit because of the pawn shop. He's gonna get money. And now Buck and Billy Ballard has a horse attached, so he's worth +1 bullets and +1 influence, which is pretty great. So I'm gonna give us +1 influence. Also, during a noon or during a shootout, we can boot his horse to draw a card, and you can boot a dude to this location. That's a really good ability to like make someone boot in the middle of town square where they have to fight a call out. If you don't pay upkeep with a dude, do they come booted? No, they get discarded. You can't keep them around anymore. It's back to Maddie. Maddie's paying some money. Mind you, this is a tabletop simulator. We're not using chat. Maddie's in the other room. We're just yelling at each other. Longway Food says +1 stud. Do members of the posse also provide stud card draw or +1 just for the primary shooter? The primary shooter will give you as much benefit as the bullets on them. So if Maggie is our shooter, she would give us +2 draw. So the shooter gives you the full benefit of not only the number, but the type of bullet. All your other people in your posse just give you 1 of whatever the bullet is. So Longway just gives +1 stud on top of all of that shit. You'll see a shootout hopefully relatively soon, but I hope that explains it a bit. This is a good card. This gives you +0 bullets, so it doesn't actually give you bullets, but it makes the dude a stud. So I feel like it might be okay to make Maggie a stud, because 2 studs pretty good. So I'm gonna pay 1 to give Maggie a pearl-handed revolver. Maddie gets another credit because of fucking pedigrees. It's also important to know that Maddie did play a thing that's worth 2 control points. This is the mayor's office. And this is the sort of thing that you see places that make sense for you to control this city are worth a lot more. So Maddie controls the mayor's office. It gives her +2 control, so she's a bit closer to winning. And she can boot this to raise or lower the influence of a dude at this or an adjacent location by 1. That's a huge ability, considering a lot of her shitters, again, don't have any influence. And if they don't have influence, they can never control a place. So you can give Zhao Dan 1 influence, and he can march into the cattle market and try and control it. Maddie said stop calling them shitters. It's a minion swarm deck. They're shitters. This is a really good card. This is such a strong card. And now you see this sort of like chess going on, where you see where Zhao Dan entered the town square. And you get this tension where now if like, say Billy enters the town square, they could call each other out. And the thing is like, say Maddie calls out, I'm just doing this for example. Say I move into town square. Maddie on her turn now, because it's her turn, Zhao Dan could call out Billy. And bluffing is a huge part of this game, because like this looks like such a bad fucking shootout for Maddie. Zhao Dan is 1 draw. Admittedly, he'd get the stud bonus of Longway. And Billy's a pretty good shooter. He's 2 stud. He has 2 influence though. If this guy dies, I'm in a really bad spot. And whoever calls out whom, the other person could say, I'm in. Or the other person could say, okay, I'm not shooting out. And then they have to go home booted. So there's this huge like fucking bluffing. Would they prefer pissers? Yeah, I like pissers. Maddie's brand of pissers. I don't think I'm gonna move Billy in there. Oh, it's important to know this is a really big rule. You can call out anybody at any location. You can't call out somebody in the own home. So if Zhao Dan moves into my home for some reason, Zhao Dan cannot call out any of these cards. They're safe at home. They're not going to do a lot to help control things, but you can call someone out in their home. That's safety. Unless you have a card that specifically says call it out, which will happen. Maddie's deck has a really important call out card. It's kind of like the account siphon of this game that you have to respect or you're going to get rolled through it, called kidnapping, in which you basically just say that person, get them, and a shootout happens. And it's fucking terrifying. I feel like we might be able to afford Nathan Shane. All of them are shootout abilities, considering the way she's posturing with this pisser. And let's see if there's any horses in our discard pile. There are no horses. I know these cards a bit better than you. Maddie's passing. You know what? We'll take the pass as well. We're making enough money. We're going to both pass. So you check end of the day. Maddie has 3 control. We have more influence, and we have no control. She has more influence. So unboot everybody, and then you get your upkeep. I guess we should just do this like this. So you can discard 1 card. I'm going to get rid of the quick draw handgun. I don't want to give Maddie more money. And then we draw back up to our hand size, which for us is going to be 4. We got another horse. That's good. Got more dudes. They're really expensive, which is not great, but at least we have something. I'm very committed to the turn. All right, so it's the next day. We do low ball, so we all ante up, and we're going to play low ball poker. And again, I love this part because you really want your deck to draw bad half of the time. So right now we're on 2 pairs and a joker. Maddie is on 2 pairs. Oh, we're on 1 pair. She's on 2 pairs, so we have a worse hand, so we're going to win low ball. Our joker showed up in a poker hand, so we have to ace it. It is out of the game. It's not coming back. Maddie still has 2 jokers, I believe, in her deck, so it's kind of scary to do shootout. We win, so we got to take the money and the first player token. We also got to do our upkeep. 3, 4, 5. We're going to pay upkeep on Buck and Billard and on Nathan Shane, so we're only going to get 3 overall. Our money is not amazing. Oh, Maddie, I wanted that. And we get to go first, which is a pretty strong position. What happens if you can't afford the ante up? You have to borrow from the bank, and you have to pay that back as soon as you can in upkeep. If you can't afford the ante. You're right, if you can't afford the up card, you'd discard it, but if we couldn't pay for low ball, you'd borrow it, and just remember, as soon as you win the low ball, or as soon as you get any money from upkeep, you have to pay it off first. And you'll always be making some money, because you always control your home. You'll always be making this. What a good idea. Yo, happy April Fools! We became a Doomtown. Also, Maddie drew that Joker back there, so we really committed. This is a funny Netrunner, Zareth. How's it going? Welcome! We get the first play. We've been describing Doomtown, how to play. We haven't seen a shootout just yet, but if you have any questions, do ask. This game is dope as shit. I put together this TTS mod just yesterday. It has all the cards. Probably should put this public. Don't know if it's going to be an legality issue, but this game is well worth your time. We'll be streaming Netrunner tomorrow at a regular time, so this didn't feel that bad. All right. What do we have here? I want to give this guy more bullets. Just because if he has more bullets, it'd be good. I don't actually know what this card does. While this dude is at a ranch, that deed gains +2 production. Fuck yeah. It cannot receive a bonus more than that 1 lariat. Shootout boot. Choose an opposing dude. That dude cannot use their printed abilities. You may boot a weapon on that dude. That's a good card. I feel like we don't have to play any of these guys, let alone we can't afford him. So I'm going to pay 2 to give Irving as our play Rancher's Lariat. So we're going to play 2. Irving is also at a ranch, so this place gains +2 production. So Maddie gets 1 because she still controls a fucking punch up. This game looks sick. One of my favorites cardboard game is Bang, so this resonates. Yeah, the cowboy, but like, cowboy shit is cool and all. But like the theme of this, like the way that it actually gets that sort of like cowboy posturing, the way it gets that sort of like tension of 2 people standing in town square, it fucking kills it. It does such a good job. All right, so Maddie's booting the mayor's office, which means that she has given Zhao Dan 1 influence. Anytime that a card ability doesn't say for how long it is, so raise or lower the influence of a dude by this or an adjacent location by 1, that's going to be for the whole turn, the whole day. If it says permanently, it's permanently. So this is only for the full day. So the full day, Zhao Dan is worth 1 influence. Will that matter? Well, we'll find out. I'm scared. Guys, I'm scared. All the horses you notice have really strong abilities. They're mostly movement, like boot, move this dude into a posse. The Mustang in our discard bin says boot, move this dude. So you can start moving around a lot. I feel like we might need a bit more aggressive, but I'm terrified of Maddie's kidnapping her other cards. Piss her incoming. This came out around the same time as Netrunner. I believe it's considered it equal. Too bad AG couldn't keep it up. Ubi, you say that, but the people who used to work for AG have the rights for this game, and they've been printing cards ever since. And the support's been probably even better. They don't come out as regularly, but they come out with bigger boxes. So it's basically like every 3-4 months, I get like 60 new cards, and then we sit down and play Doomtown for like a really long time. Yeah, check it out. Check out Pine Box Entertainment. It's the same people making the game. And they got better at making the game. So like the cards that are printed, almost all are like pretty competitive and interesting, as opposed to a lot of the old cards, just like old Netrunner. The old cards, some of them just are not played. Mark your home, and if it's successful, we get a horse from our discard pile. We get to attach it to somebody, reduce the cost by 1. So when you do a job, someone has to lead a job. It has to be Maggie, because this is her job. So I'm saying Maggie is doing a job. She has to boot. The job is happening at my home, and Henry Moran is going to join. He's at the same location, so he can join simply. It's now up to Maddie to decide whether she wants to contest the job. To contest the job, somebody of hers has to be at the location or adjacent to the location. So the only person who's able to contest the job at all is Zhao Dan. Now, if Zhao Dan wants to contest the job, he'll have to boot to move to the location of the job, which is in my home. So it's a pretty strong drawback. Maddie, would you like to contest my job that Maggie with Henry's backup is doing?
You lose the shootout. Did you die?
Yeah, and then you die in real life.
Cool.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, if I lose the shootout? Yeah, they can die. It's just like a real shootout.
No, I'm good.
All right, so Maddie's not. So the job just succeeds without a shootout. So I get to search your home for for a horse. I'm gonna take the Mustang. I can attach it to somebody and reduce it by 3. So I'm gonna give Nathan this Mustang, which lets me boot this to move the dude without booting, and I'm gonna pay 2 credits, 1 fewer, because of her ability. Where was that?
I don't know.
Where'd you find that? That's my discard pile. Oh, it's because I pulled the horse out of my discard pile.
Okay.
I dragged the whole discard pile. Cody, what's up? It's Doomtown. Happy April Fools. We're teaching how to play Doomtown. Yeah, reloaded, exactly. All right, so everybody that's one of the big drawbacks of a job. Everybody, credits, that's a word I know. Everybody who participates in the job, on the job side, after the job is done, go home booted. So even though there was no shooted, they're going home booted. They're not gonna do a lot today. But Nathan Shane's got a Mustang. It's back to you, Maddie. Maddie's paying some money, that's scary. This shithead. Shelby Hunt. Shelby, he's neutral, by the way. You can tell which factions people come from by like the symbol underneath their influence. So I'm playing almost all Morgan Cattle Company, and then we have some neutrals. The neutrals in this game are really cool because they're like super flexible. They're usually not just like garbage. They're just kind of like the cards that every faction could benefit from. And like Shelby Hunt, who, if he's in a shootout and the opposing posse has more bullets than him, he just gets jacked as shit, gets +1 bullet, becomes a stud, and nobody can affect him with shootout abilities. So he wants to fight something bigger than him. Shelby's really cool. Now, he has no influence, so he's really bad at controlling things, but he loves a fight, which is pretty scary. Again, Maddie loves a lot of these like little pissers that she can move out pretty aggressively. Got a Mustang from the dealership on lease. The ranch is earning a lot of money. Shame if someone came to contest it. Ugh. It's also important to know, if Maddie does control the cattle market, she would get the control points if this was worth any. It's not yet. But she wouldn't make the upkeep. She would just deny me the upkeep. So there is a situation, and Maddie's money is pretty good because she got the early pawn shop that I've been too terrified to contest, is that if I was there, we could maybe rob her 1 or 2 credits upkeep a turn. We wouldn't get it, but she wouldn't, and that's arguably as good. All right, well, I think we gotta put our money where our mouth is, my friends. This might throw the whole game, but we just want to see what happens. Billy is moving to Town Square. So Zhao Dan could in theory call them out because they're at the same location, and Zhao Dan's not booted. Is clone chip cash legal? Clone chip is. A simul chip they banned though, but that's because I don't know. It's hard to trash your own cards. The other cast is wholesome neutral. God, it's not garbage. How dare.
Did you attach a horse earlier?
Yeah.
Oh, money.
Maddie forgot to get her pedigrees from the Mustang. That's a big horse. That's probably the most expensive horse in the game, I think. That's a really good ability though, to move them, move them without booting. Like I could just be like, oh, I'm at the mayor's office, and then Maddie kidnaps me. Maddie is calling me out. So this is the first crossroads in the tension of her shitter versus Bucky Billy Ballard, where I have to decide whether or not to fight. If I refuse to call out, which he can because he's not booted, he would go. When you form a posse, 2 people can join, or 2 types of people can join. Anybody at the location, booted, non-booted, can join your posse and become on your side of the shootout. Anybody at an adjacent location, so all the everybody's adjacent to this location, can also join the posse, but they would have to boot to do so. So there is a drawback to doing that, but again, you can call and support. The same way that when I build my posse, all these players and Irving, all these dudes and Irving, well, not them because they're booted, so they can't boot to join, but basically Vita, Nathan, and Irving could all boot to join. Fight, fight, fight is the chant. All right, let's see it. So Maddie makes her posse first. She's saying just Zhao Dan, which is really fucking suspicious. I'm going to boot in Nathan Shane to join the fight. So Nathan is joining. He has to boot to join, and he obviously brings his Mustang. Nathan has... Oh, he has a shoot boot ability? Fuck me, never mind. I goofed. I goofed. I didn't realize this was a boot ability. I thought it was a shootout ability. I should have moved him in first, my friends. Okay. Whatever. We might lose this game. We'll just play another one. I'm gonna move in Nathan. He has to boot. So my posse is these 2 versus Maddie's Zhao Dan. Now I get to go first. This is the point in time where posses are made, and we both take turns doing shootout plays. Shootout plays are basically cards we can play from our hand, largely action cards, which are clubs that say shoot out on them and do something. You can also play cards on cards, play cards in the posse to have shootout abilities. For instance, noon shootout, boot Billy's horse to draw a card. So I get to draw a card. I might get a shootout play here. I didn't. You may boot a dude at this location. So I'm going to go ahead and boot Zhao Dan. Will this do anything? Probably not, but some of Maddie's cards force her to boot her dudes before she can do something. It's back to Maddie. She gets a shootout play, or she can pass. She's gonna play Sun in her eyes. Oh, the stakes just rose. Shootout. This is what a shootout action is. You have to pay the cost on the card itself, which is 0 for a lot of these cards. Move one of your dudes into your posse, become a stud. So Shelby is now a 2 stud for this whole shootout, and he's joined the posse out of nowhere. Again, there's a lot of bluffing in this game. Of course, Maddie was gonna bring in other players. I knew this. It's back to me. I can choose to play a shootout play, or I can pass again. If I pass and Maddie passes, we go to the shootout. But if I pass and then Maddie goes, I can react to it. So sometimes you don't want to do all your shootout plays. I could have waited and assumed Maddie was going to bring somebody in and then use Billy's ability on it, but I didn't. I can't use this shootout ability because it boots. None of these horses have shootout abilities. I don't want to use any shootout abilities in my hands, so I'm gonna pass. Maddie, told you. Sun in your eyes. Choose a dude in that shootout. That dude gets -2 bullets and becomes a draw. So Bucky Biller is going to become a 0 draw. He lost his extra bullet that he has for a horse, and he's a 0 draw. So 0 brass bullet. Back to me. Oh, that's chat. I'm going to pass. These tokens don't exist. Maddie has passed. So now we're going to actually shoot out. So Maddie picks a shooter. It's Shelby. So Shelby is a 2 stud. So he's going to get... So Maddie's going to draw 5 cards, so she always draws 5. She's going to draw 2 extra because of 2 studs, 6, 7. Long Wei Fu means she always has a stud bonus, so that's 8 cards. And then her other person who's not in the shootout, it doesn't matter, or sorry, who is in the shooter, who's in the shootout, it doesn't matter what the number on their bullet is, you just get 1 of that bonus. So Maddie has to draw 8 cards and then can flip up to 1 card. On our side of the table, we're going to make Nathan Shane our shooter, so we're going to draw 6 cards. 5 plus 1 for the stud, and he's only a 0 draw, but if he's not our shooter, all that matters is the colors. So we get 1 draw, so it's 6 flip 1. We're probably going to lose this pretty poorly. I'm just going to do this because it's kind of clumsy. I'm just going to flip my hand, put it down, and then draw 6, and we can flip 1. And we want to make the highest poker hand. We can choose to cheat. Whether Maddie has punishment, we'll find out. So we can flip 1. I don't know what the deck is. So generally when you build a deck, you choose what your draw structure is. So like I'm going to have a lot of 7s and a lot of 5s and a lot of 6s. So that's easy to draw 4 of a kinds, full houses, stuff like that, 3 of a kind. I don't know what my deck is. I'm just going to peek at it because I've played this deck only once. Looks like we have a lot of 8s, 5s, and 7s. Yeah, we're 8, 5, 7. So we can exchange 1 card. I think exchanging the 4 probably makes sense. I don't think we have a lot of 4s in our deck. Actually, the queen is definitely worse. So we're going to redraw 1. All right, so we have a hand, and let's see how poorly this goes for us. Once you have your hand, you have to make it to the best or your choice of 5 cards. It doesn't have to be the best if maybe you want to avoid cheating. And we reveal. Maddie, you ready? Fuck. All right, so we look at our hands. We have full house, illegal, because we have 2 5 of clubs. You can't do that in poker. That's a cheat. And Maddie has 5 of a kind, but massively illegal. 2 of the same cards. So Maddie's been calling cheater in chat. Now we go to the resolution phase. So yeah, Maddie just wanted to point out we're also cheating, which is true. So it goes to us, and we get a look at our hand, and because we're the first player, we get to go first, and we can play a resolution card. We can play a cheating resolution card, specifically because Maddie cheated. You can only play 1 cheating resolution card per round of the shootout, which we... Or we can play 1 resolution card, as many as we want, but we go back and forth. Maddie, I'm going to pass. Maddie also passed. So we've lost a shootout, but how much did we lose by? We have to look at the card. So Maddie has 5 of a kind, which is 10. We have full house, which is 7. So we have to take 3 casualties. How do you take casualties? Find people in the shootout and ace them to cover 2 casualties, or discard them to cover 1 casualty. So basically we've lost probably the whole game. We shouldn't have done the shootout. We really fucked it up really bad, but that's not going to work. We also, if we had a cheating resolution, we could have done it. We easily could have won the shootout because Maddie's cheating 5 of a kind is absolutely nonsense. Now, this is actually like a really big recurring theme with this game. A lot of people's experience with this game when they play their first games is that they just move everyone to town square and then do one big shootout, and then it's decided by one good poker game. This is admittedly somewhere like that. Like, we did not need to do that. This does not help us win the game, let alone if we lose the shootout, it loses us this game. And I've seen many circumstances where people play the first 3 games of this game and be like, it's stupid, we just go to town square and shoot out everything. And that's true. We, in theory, did not need to make the shootout. We could have just kept playing chess, kept making our money, make a bigger board state, and it's not like this game durdles on. It does close pretty quickly, and Maddie probably should have aggressively moved to our locations to contest them. We asked her not to do that because it wasn't really going well for us. But that's kind of the big point. I think we're going to largely lose this game because we lost this shootout, which is obviously bad form. So we need to cover 3 casualties, so we have to ace one of them, discard one of them. It doesn't really matter too much who we choose. I'm going to go ahead and ace Nathan. We only have one of him in his deck, so it's not like he's going to show up and discard the others. Maddie wins the shootout, and so all her people are left there. We also lose a whole bunch of influence. Right now, we're only sitting on 3 influence, which Maddie has right now 3 control. So if she ends up taking another control off of us, we probably lose the whole game at the end of the day, but we can defend this. It's now our turn because all the good cards discarded. Yeah, that's also a big thing is we put all our fighters into one fight. All good people, especially our people with influence. That's like a lot of times why you have shitters like Henry Moran is you throw them out to chump block. Like if we had to take one casualty, we just ace Henry Moran and then maybe we can keep fighting. The fact is we put both of our really big guys into one fight, which is definitely a strategic mistake. You don't want to do that. All right, so we haven't lost yet. It is our turn. We still have 3 influence, and Maddie only has 3 control. She would need a 4th control. There's a big chance that she has like a location, a deed in her card, and she can just play it on the table, a deed in her hand, and then maybe we lose. So let's see what we can do here. We only have 1 Ghost Rock, which means we can play... Oh, that's a really good card. Wow. We can't really do much here, so we're just going to pass and hope for the best. Oh, Maddie's also passing. So we both passed in a row. We actually did have a play, but we were scared of it. So now we discard 1 card and draw back up to our hand size. So what card do we want to discard? I think we're going to discard this card because it has a lot of influence in it, but we're nowhere near affording it. We check if anyone's won at the end of the day. No one has. You get to unboot all your booted cards, draw back up to hand size. Welcome to day 3. All right, we ante up for low ball. Did you see that style? So I'm just gonna move these, and then we play low ball. How come we discarded cards went into the ace pile? It didn't. This is the ace pile. Oh, I did. It's because I fucked up. Thank you.
Oh, Jesus.
This is the ace pile. We'll just move that far away. So Maddie draws really poorly. She gets to eat her joker. Notice when her joker showed up in her poker hand, she has to ace it, so it's not going to show up again. And here she draws 3 of a kind with the joker, which is pretty good. We'll probably beat that, and by beat that I mean have a worse hand. Right now we are good. 2 pairs less. We're not cheating. She is cheating. We're going to say no resolution, and we're going to win this low ball, which is important because the money is good. He gives us another influence, which is really good, so we don't lose. And he says noon, if you control a ranch, choose a dude with a horse in this or an adjacent location, move that dude to another location. So similar to Maddie, we're really good at moving our people around, specifically if they have horses. And this guy's really good at shooting, specifically if we give him the pearl-handed revolver, which would make him a 3-stud. If you draw a joker, can you use it however you must use as best as possible? You can choose to use the joker however you like. However you like, you don't have to make the best hand. Sometimes you actually want to lose fights for some abilities, but you can do whatever you want with it. And it'll never make you cheat, at least this joker. What the fuck, Maddie? No, not like this. So you know how I said the higher values usually are the bigger dudes? This is one of the leaders of the 108 Righteous Bandits, Tao Chi Chao. He's 3-stud, 3 influence, which is a shit ton. He costs 9 and has 2 upkeep, but if you're playing this faction, you can play him reduced by 1 for each deity he's controlled. So Maddie only paid 7 for this guy, and he has an absurdly strong ability. It's a really cool thing about this game is that the strong cards will end games. They do have like really cool strategic effects. So this one specifically says, and repeat means she can do it as many times as she wants. She can boot a deed she controls to unboot a dude at that deed or adjacent to it. So she can basically move her dudes around like crazy, unboot them, move them around like crazy, call it shootouts. At the end of the round, you can only discard 1 from hand or as many. Only 1. You can discard up only 1 and then redraw up to your hand size. Anyways, this asshole's here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Maddie should have 7 influence. Yeah, I got you. All right, so the influence doesn't matter because we're not close to posturing to win, but it's really important that Tao Chi can just move into the cattle market and it'll be a struggle to win the game. So we're going to have to shoot out. One of the other things you can do on your turn is called trading. If you have 2 people at the same location, and you control that location, you always control your home, they can trade goods. Once you trade a thing over, so for instance, on our turn, Maggie's going to give the Pearl Handle Revolver to Dead, Billy Jones, so he's a 3 stud. This just makes him a stud. You can't trade that card anymore this turn. So once you trade it once, that's it for the day. It's back to Maddie. That's our turn. They could also both trade cards. So like if she had something and he had something, they could trade it back and forth all for one action. Maddie's thinking, oh, that's a problem. Cliff 4 Saloon, control a boot. You dude at this location or adjacent location becomes a stud. Now that's really good. That's obviously really good, but when it comes to adjacency, it's probably better. Maddie, do you mind if I spread you out just a bit?
Okay.
This will be easier to see. Yeah, oops. This is only adjacent to the town square and to the mayor's office. The mayor's office is adjacent to home. So this works on adjacent people. This also works on adjacent people, but it's kind of awkward for Maddie that this is here because she can't use it on any of her people at home. But once she brings someone to town square, she can use this. So you can boot a dude to deed a dooba-dee-boo-doo. What is this, horse runner? Timber, what's up? How's it going? Welcome to the finest Doomtown channel. All right, we probably want to use Maggie to get a horse back. Pedro's probably good enough. Maddie's on low credits, so maybe if we can contest some of her things, she'll struggle to pay for the upkeep on Tao Chi, let alone Long Wei. That'd be kind of be cool. This is a really good horse as well, right? Boot this dude into, so they join a posse, so that like Billy can just show up anywhere and fight anywhere. That's pretty important. I think we're gonna pay 2 for that. Maddie, I'm gonna pay 2 to get a Pinto onto Jones.
Oh, money.
Money, please. The thing is, we can't even boot this guy, because if you boot this guy, she just boots a dude and unboots him. So like our written down isn't particularly strong. What's up, Maddie? We're not playing this deck well, mind you. This is not a deck I know how to play. The other deck that I normally play is a bit more complicated, and after this one, we'll probably play it. Okay, so Maddie is using Cliff's 4 Saloon to make Shelby a stud for this turn. Oh, that's not the influence one. Cool, so he's a 2 stud. So, what's good? Nobody has weapons. Maddie says we could probably play another horse. There's something she wants to play on 3 Ghost Rock. That's our issue now, is that like all our dudes that have influence are like kind of important to us. If we lose one of them, we probably lose the game. So it's gonna be hard for us to control like the pawn shop. If we control the pawn shop, we could like play a horse and not make money. Well, maybe make money if we play Pedro, but Pedro's in our discard pile. Okay, well I think we have to try and not lose. Henry Moran's gonna walk into town square. We're looking for a fight here, my friends. Okay, so Tao Chi is here. That sucks. I should have moved him home a while ago, maybe. Wow. This is pretty bad, y'all. This is not going well for us. We put our 2 big people into a fight. The people that could actually control the town in a meaningful way. Which, this is an issue. Billy Jones walks into town square. That's probably bad. We don't need to do that. We'll do it anyways. This is a really strong neutral card. This is like a really, really good neutral card. She's great. She's a school teacher. This card existed in like the 90s version of this game. And you can just ace her at a resolution to be, if the shootout just went terribly, you'd be like, okay, the school teacher dies, everyone goes home booted. Which is like flavorfully wild. Sorry? Just gotta draw like a god during poker. You tell me about it. I don't know if we have a joker still in here. Okay, Tao Chi's calling out Henry?
Yeah.
Henry accepts.
Beautiful.
Who's your posse?
All of them.
All 3 of those?
Yeah.
Okay. Can Henry win the shootout on his own? So Maddie still has 4 cards in hand, so the chance of her having like a really good shootout play is pretty alright. So we're gonna try and do some posturing to maybe get around some shootout plays. It's only gonna be Henry. So she's fighting just Henry. Yo, what's up, Sharif? Can you look at your discard at any time? Try to deduce what cards you might draw during a shootout. If your deck is own cards, 100%. I don't think you can reorder your discard pile, but you can. It's also really important to look at your opponents to see like, they have Stakes Just Rose in their deck. They're playing 3s, or they have Coach Whip. They're playing 4s. And having some information about that is really important. Having some information about what your deck, your opponent could be playing. So these starter decks are really cool with the way they constructed them, is that they wanted you to have a diversity of cards. And not everybody does this when they build competitive decks, is that none of these decks have more than 2 of the same card, which makes it kind of more interesting because you see more cards, specifically as a newer player. But we know that Maddie's not on 4 copies of Stakes Just Rose. She definitely only has at most 2. So the fact that I know that 2 Sun in Your Eyes are in the discard pile is actually really advantageous for us, because it's less likely that Billy Jones is going to lose his studs if he joins the fight. But yeah, looking at your discard pile is huge. Yours to see what you can draw, and we could probably know exactly what we draw in this whole thing if we were really smart about our deck construction. We're not. I don't know his deck well. Maddie, I get the first shootout play. Yeah. This is awkward. If Maddie went first, it would have been better for us. So I guess, yeah, this was a real cock up. I thought Maddie would go first, so she would play like a strong shootout of Billy on Henry, and then Billy could enter the posse, but I wasn't thinking. And finding 2 Sun in Your Eyes, there was no reason he shouldn't have joined the posse. Maddie, do you mind if he joins the posse? You haven't taken a shootout play. I go first. Maddie groans. Okay, Billy's in the posse. I still get the first shootout play.
Absolute cheat.
Absolute cheat, Maddie says. Maddie, we pass on shootout plays?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she says. Let's see what shit she has. Making him sweat. Shootout. Boot your dude to reduce another dude's bullets ratings by your dude's bullets rating. If their bullets rest at 0, if bullet rating is 0 or less, boot them. All right, so he's only a 1 stud. We're not winning the shootout. Play Chain Resolution on Andre quick. We haven't drawn one. It's been so bad. Maddie's gonna cheat. Maddie's gonna cheat in the shootout, and we don't have a Chain Resolution. Back to us. Pass. These ones exist in the game. I put these together just so that there's a way clearly to pass online. Normally you just tell your friend pass. He's a 1 stud, we're fucked. She's saying hold on. Uh-oh, she's paying money too. Ah! It's a Bowie knife! You may attach this to your dude, paying all costs as a shootout play. That dude gets +1 bullets, is a stud. And this is the boilerplate text that's basically on every melee weapon. If there's an unbooted non-melee weapon, this does nothing. So basically, if we have literal guns, which we do, the Bowie knife does nothing. Maddie, you sure about that? She says, oh well. But that's kind of the cool ability here, is that if there's a gun in the other person's posse, the knife isn't very good. But eventually, yeah, she goofed that. That's fine. We take those. It's back to us because she did a shootout play. Pass. This knife just gives +1 and makes him a stud. You can undo that. I don't care. She says it's fine. Okay, Maddie, who's your shooter? It's Tao Chi, so she's going to be drawing 5 cards, plus the full benefit of Tao, which is 6, 7, 8 cards. Long Wei throws in +9. Zhao Dan is technically a stud. No, it doesn't count. So he's a stud, so she's going to be drawing 10, flipping 1. Again, you always draw 5. Your shooter, you get the full bonus of both number and color, so 6, 7, 8. Long Wei just gives +1 stud because Long Wei's at home. So we're at what, 9? This person's a stud because she changed him to a stud, so if they're not the shooter, it doesn't care about the number, just the color, so that's 10. And same thing, the number, not the color, so flip 1. We are at 5. I'm gonna make Henry our shooter, so it's 5, 6. Billy's a 1 stud, so we get draw 6 and then flip 2. So 6-2 against 10-1. We're not gonna win this. Good thing we have really good cheating resolutions. Yeah, in theory, if I knew the last 3 cards of her deck, we could do something here really clever. She's going to draw more than her deck. Shuffle before or after drawing remaining. As soon as you have to draw a card that isn't in your deck, you shuffle your discard pile into your deck and draw from that. There's no like weird timing of like at what point or anything. It's just as soon as you need a card, shuffle. There's no penalty to getting through your deck. It's something you kind of want to do. Again, if the cards are discarded, they go into your discard pile. So eventually that dude would show up again. But yeah, it's good. Anyways, we can throw out 1 card. Do we have more kings or jacks in our deck? I reckon we don't have that many kings in our deck. I'm just going to check this, which is the same deck we're playing. I think we only have 1 king and 1 jack in the whole deck, and we found both of them. Can confirm. Doesn't matter what we throw out here, I don't think. Again, we're trying for the best hand rank. We have a pretty good basis. We just need to get one of these to be one of those. We'll throw out the jack. Nice. We technically have this. Maddie, you ready?
Yeah.
So, not the best hand. Maybe it's good enough. Fuck, it's not. We have full house, 3 8s, 3 5s and an 8. We are cheating because we have 2 5 of diamonds. That's a cheat. Maddie has a legal 4 of a kind. And if you look at the chart here, she's already ahead by 1. Now, it goes back to us because we are still the winner of the day, so we act first on just about everything. We could play a resolution. We couldn't play a cheating resolution because Maddie isn't cheating. We're not going to. We're going to pass. Oh, I just picked up a Bowie knife. Maddie also passes, so the difference between her hand and our hand is 1. So we have to take 1 casualty. So I'm just going to go ahead and discard Henry Moran to cover the 1 casualty. All our cards go away. Now, between shootout rounds, whoever lost the shootout gets to decide whether they want to chicken out or not. If you chicken out, all the people still alive in your posse go home booted. That's obviously a huge issue. And if we do that, Maddie probably just rolls into the cattle market and we lose the whole fucking game. So we're not going to do that. Maddie, I'm staying. Maddie has the option. I put those cards together awkwardly. She also could, actually, no, not necessarily. We probably do want to run away from this. No, Maddie, I'm not staying. I'm going home. Billy goes home booted. That's fine. We have a strategy. Maddie called me out, so it's now my turn. And what we're going to do here strategically is we're going to pass. Back to them. So say you had needed to draw 5 cards for shootout and 4 cards left in your deck. Would you draw the 4 remaining cards and reshuffle the discard, or shuffle the discard into the deck first? Draw 4, then shuffle the discard, from my understanding. I've never worried about that, so I could be wrong, but that at least seems like it makes the most sense. Hey, what's up, Maddie?
I booted this with Petty Group Shop to unboot Shelby.
Alright, so she used Tao Chi, who can do this as a noon play as many times a turn because it says repeat. Booted dude, you control the unbooted dude. So Shelby, who was booted, is now unbooted. I'm going to go ahead and pass again. We're looking for a fight, my friends. She's looking for a fight. She's posturing for a fight. Tao Chi moved in? Oh wait, this place isn't worth control.
Oh shit!
We totally forgot this place isn't even worth control. If Maddie takes it, we still don't lose.
Why?
Still in it. Hey!
We're gonna kill you anyway.
She says we're still going to kill you anyways, which is always good to hear. We're gonna lose we can't control this anymore. It's gonna be a problem. Is this a horse? No, it's a lariat. Of course it's not a horse. I don't want to play a horse because then control it. It's not worth control points, but at least we'll get the upkeep because we have 3 influence there. She has 3 influence there. It's on our side of the street, so we win ties.
Calling you out.
Maddie is calling us out with Tao Chi.
Yeah.
Who are you calling out? So Maddie's calling one of us out. She's deciding which one. Can I just get those 2? Yeah. More pissers incoming, I know. Okay, Maddie's calling Irvin out. Okay, so some interesting things are going to happen. I can refuse, which is probably the smart play. If I refuse, they go home booted. And then that's fine. I won't get the money. I'm going to not refuse. We're going to stand and we're going to fight. So Irving is going to accept. Maddie is the aggressor, so she gets to build a posse first. Anybody who's not at the location, who's adjacent, can join. So it looks like Zhao Dan with his fucking Bowie knife is joining. So your posse's those 2, Maddie? Yep. Important thing to know is that when people are shooting or having a shootout at a location, you need to check what kind of location it is. This is a private location, which means you can't have a gunfight in here. So all of Maddie's dudes that participate in the shootout are going to become wanted. That means they're wanted. They have 1 bounty each. At any point in time, if these players leave the game, I will make that money back. So it disincentivizes you from shooting in certain places. You can shoot in a saloon. That's fine. But you take a shootout into someone's office. Oh, I don't know. The law gets involved. My posse is going to be Irving, and it's going to be Vita. Irving specifically says when he joins a posse, gain a ghost rock. Thanks for the cash, Irving. Sorry, you're going to die. That's my posse, these 2. Technically, Maggie could have joined because she's adjacent. She would just have to boot to join. Also, for what it's worth, Billy couldn't join because he is booted. And to do that, to boot to join at an adjacent location, you would have to boot. And he can't boot because he is booted.
You can with the Pinto.
I know. I hope you wouldn't. We get the first shootout play because we're the winner. We're now going to shootout plays. We're the winner of the turn, so we always act first. And this is the strategy I had. The Pinto says, boot this dude into a posse. So I'm going to boot the horse. I rotated the preview, and now Billy Jones is going to enter the posse. So now my posse looks a bit bigger than it used to. Go horses, go. We probably should have added Maddie. Maddie passes! We might be winning this one. I'm gonna go with pass 2. Maddie, who's your shooter? All right, so Maddie is making Tucci her shooter. So that means she draws 5 as a start. Her shooter gets the full number and color, so 5 plus 3, 6, 7, 8. Again, long way, the fucking old man, 9. And then people in her posse, Zhao Dan is technically a stud, but the number doesn't matter, just the color. So Maddie's gonna draw 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards, flip none of them. Our shooter is going to be Billy, who's 3, but he's a stud, so we're going to be drawing 5, 6, 7, 8. And then our other people in our posse, the number doesn't matter, just the color, so it's 8, flip 2. We have a chance of actually winning this one. I'm going to go ahead and flip those. So we have to draw... Did I break my deck? What happened? Whatever. 1, 2. Okay, and now our deck is empty, so we're going to have to shuffle this. And we need to draw 8, flip 2, so we're going to draw 6 more. It's worth noting that in the last shootout, we did lose, but Maddie didn't punish us. Does that mean she doesn't have a shooting punishment for cheating, or she chose not to play one? I'm not actually sure. And we can only flip 2, which is actually pretty good. This is like obviously pretty dodgy. We could keep that in a pinch if we really needed to, but we probably don't want to cheat. I think we probably don't cheat at all. We know our deck isn't running 10 as a normal card. Like this 10 got into our deck because Henry died earlier and we shuffled him back. So we probably don't keep Henry because I don't think we have any other 10s in the deck. So Henry we can throw out, and we can probably just throw out one of these because I don't think we want to cheat. So we're going to throw out 1, 2. When you discard cards, you have to do them all at once. You can't do discard 1, draw, think about it, discard 1, draw. When you're doing any of your discards because of brass bullets, you have to do them all at once. Oh, I forgot about this. That doesn't really do much. All right, how do we do? Poorly. Not great. Oh, we do have other kings in our deck. Actually, we do have kings as a smaller suit. Okay, or a smaller value. All right, we're gonna hope for the best here. Maddie, you good? You good? All right, looks like we're already gonna cheat, so we're gonna do the higher values. Oh, Maddie has cheat in 5 of a kind. All right, so 5 of a kind is a fair bit better than full house. Its difference is 3, so we'd have to take 3 casualties. Maddie is cheating, so we can go first and play a cheating resolution. Unfortunately, we fucking don't have one. Maddie laughed from the other room, so we don't have even a legal resolution to play. Any resolution, we're gonna pass. Maddie gets a resolution, passes, and we have to take 3 casualties, which will cost us the game. I really thought we could get away with that. Man, our deck has a fair bit of resolutions and cheating resolutions, so basically we're gonna lose. We have to take 3 casualties. We could ace Vita and discard Irving, but at the end of the day, we're just not gonna have enough influence to win this day. So that's a wash. We definitely lost that one. How's everyone doing? Maddie, I think we can play another one. How you feeling? Okay, I'm gonna play with a deck that I probably play a bit more. What do I play more, Maddie? I think 4th ring?
Yeah, or the gadgets.
Yeah.
I hate the gadgets.
No cheat punishment in this deck. Yeah, I get frustrated with decks that don't have cheating punishments. For what it's worth, Maddie's deck doesn't have a lot of deeds. It has a lot of like dudes, and it has a lot of resolutions, or not resolutions, action cards. She has a lot of ways to like to make shootouts better in her favor. She can punish shootouts pretty well, so she wants to do a lot of shootouts. This deck I think is actually pretty aggressive, and we just like shouldn't have done that shoot at the beginning. We wanted to divide our forces and maybe push for some of her places to divide her forces, but she could kind of put everybody in one spot, which is bad. Do you want to? I'm just gonna nuke all the cards and then we can redo them all. Sounds okay? Okay. So I'm just gonna clear the whole board. Just tuning in, this is Doomtown Reloaded, which we are teaching tonight. Hopefully that's going well. It's April Fool's. We thought this was fine. We're gonna be back tomorrow with Netrunner content. We're not actually becoming a Doomtown channel. We just thought it was funny. Oh no. I guess we're gonna play this one. I don't know how Sloan Gang draws. It's pretty bad. To go over the factions real quick, this is a Sloan Gang. I think they renamed some of these gangs because I don't know if they didn't have the licensing to some of these things. But the Sloan Gang, they're the Outlaws, I think they're called now, and they have people that generally get benefit from being wanted, from accruing bounty, which is pretty good. They're pretty aggressive. This one wants to control town square and boot the people there and say, fuck you, fight me, which is pretty great. This is Law Dogs. They represent the law. They're good at punishing people that are wanted. They do a lot of invention. There's things called gadgets that are kind of like the wild, weird, wacky West stuff. And they have mad scientists that can invent those gadgets. Those gadgets get wild. Like you get like robotic horses, flamethrowers, force fields. They get like nutty. And they generally have a sub theme about miracles, which is a kind of spell that's all religious spells. A bunch of their factions are like literally straight up like Christian soldiers. They're actually my favorite faction. I find them to be very fun. Fourth ring is the circus. We're probably going to play that, so you'll see it. Morgan Cattle Company, they also do a lot of inventing, but they have good money. They have good horses. They do ranching and anything that makes them a profit, which is great. Maddie's playing 108 Righteous Bandits, otherwise known as the Anarchists. They have a lot of like really interesting subtypes, a lot of like Dude Flood. They also do Kung Fu, which is a kind of like spell type magic that you can play that's actually very nuanced and interesting and does a lot of combo work. And then finally we have what used to be called the Eagle Wardens. Now they're the First Peoples. They represent the native people to the area of Gamora, and they do spirits, which is it's like a pretty controlling but also pretty movement based sort of magic thing. They also have really high influence, so their people are specifically very good at keeping control and going to certain places. They also have a sub theme for attire. They have a sub team with sidekicks. They're a lot of fun to play, and in terms of like representation, I feel like the representation of the First People is way better than it probably is in some other cowboy type franchises, which is great. I think we're gonna do fourth ring. Wanna play? Okay. Cool. All right. We'll give us another one. Maddie fucking absolutely usually stomps with this, but we'll get one of these. Oh, I gotta throw out my hand. All right, we're gonna play with some magic. We have spells. Sorry?
You get upside down deck, huh?
Oh, you can rotate if you want. This is the fourth ring. They represent the circus that rolled up into town. I think they're some way related to this whole idea of ghost rock, some bad magic. This is like that sort of kind of like weird clown shit kind of you see on sometimes on people who like weird, wacky, Wild West stuff. But this is the circus, and the ringleader of the circus is what this game calls an abomination. So it's a mixture of the undead and some magic, and they do some really scary magic stuff. The way that they do magic, or actually most of the skills in this game, I think is really interesting as well. You'll see it pretty soon, but the basic idea is anytime you try to do a spell, you have to do a test, and you basically rip the top card off your deck and you check its value versus the difficulty of that specific spell. And it gets really interesting because it very much affects how you build your decks. Certain spells are really hard to get the pulls. That's what they call it. They're called a pull because you need to pull a high number. But a lot of the strongest spells are actually low numbers themselves. The problem is if your deck has a lot of those spells, when you try to do the magic and you're looking to pull a 10, you end up pulling an 8. It's usually awful. So it becomes this really hard, interesting puzzle between building a deck that has good suits and good values to draw and to just build a reasonable deck and to win poker or to lose poker and lowball. But also certain magics are just hard to do, and it's a very fascinating puzzle. The opening recommended hand has Jake Smiley, a favorite from everyone. Willa Mae McGowan, the teacher, who you can she gets killed sometimes and it ends the whole fight once the school teacher dies. Leon Cavallo, one of my favorites. He controls the town square pretty well. You do a huckster check. So you basically check the top card of your deck to do a pull. And if you have better value than a dude at this or adjacent location, you get to boot that person. So someone moves into town square and Leon kicks them and they get booted, which is great. You have Papa Marias, who can move your people around pretty aggressively, which is cool. Movement is really important in this game. And then we have Valeria, who's one of my favorites. She's a pretty standard huckster, really good value in terms of having stud bullets, having low cost, no upkeep. And a huckster there, that is the trait you're looking for. Anybody who is a huckster can do hexes, which is the magic that the fourth ring largely do. So those are our 5 starting. We're paying 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, which means we start with 4 Ghost Rock. We don't start with this, and we shuffle and start with a hand of 5. Maddie's playing the same stuff. She hasn't used his ability yet, but she really hasn't had to. All right, you draw your opening hand. We have no mulligans. Good card. Finally, we found one of those. That's important. We have some playable dudes. This is a really big dude. Probably not playable, but does hit like pretty heavily when it comes in. And we have another playable location. So we're going to ante up, and we're going to play some Ghost Rock. Grifters are people you can include in your deck, also in your starting posse, and they usually have an ability that boots them in the starting posse. Maddie's going to use this. It saves her upkeep, but the punishment is that this Grifter isn't doing anything today. Ready for lowball? Can you go hover over how much money you start with again? Some static minus all the starting dudes. Yes, it's static 19, which is actually really good. I think that's the highest number. And we pay the bottom left corner the play cost for all our cards. So I think we end up with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 3 plus 1 we anteed up. We also have a really cool ability that makes us want to do spell pulls. So we want to do spells every day. So Maddie draws just 2 3s, legal. Pair of 3s. Let's see what our deck does. 9, 10, queen, queen. So already 2 pairs. Legal as well, so we can't get cheating resolutions. Maddie's going to win low ball, and we're going to lose out on that starting cash. She's also going to be the first player. She does upkeep first. I think she gains straight 3, and we get 3. We're going to choose to keep Leon around, so we'll get 2. Yeah, no problem. All right, she has some money, but we're not in the worst place. Let's see how it goes for us. We didn't open with a spell, which is really bad. Our deck gets good economy as spells go, so we're going to have to play a bit defensively. And talking about defensively, Zhao Dan, the man in the box, is going to show up and just control the town square. We could boot him. Really don't have a need to. And I think we're going to just try and put our money out here. We haven't talked about out-of-town deeds. A lot of out-of-town deeds aren't worth control. When you play an out-of-town deed, you just literally put it here out of town. Out-of-town deeds are adjacent to nothing. Not even to other out-of-town deeds. So they're really hard to get to. Again, you can move anywhere, but boot. But this just gives us money, which is pretty good. It's a pretty standard card. This finds itself in a lot of decks, even decks that aren't running a lot of jacks, on the basis that having a card in your deck that is off value is pretty good for losing low ball. This is nutty. There wasn't that many really good cheating resolutions in this game from my understanding, and recently the game has been printing more and more pretty compelling cheating resolutions. Usually it was a bit homogenous with cheating resolutions played. This is a pretty good one. It's a really good one. Matt, it's all you.
What did you do? Oh, yeah.
Strike out of town. Maddie's passing. We really don't have much to do here. If we dump this on the table, we could draw another card because we can only discard one at the end of turn. We're probably going to discard this guy. But I don't know. We're going to get 4 income next turn. Do we want to pay 2 on something that does give us income? This is a cool card because it has a job in which it just gets stronger and stronger, but Maddie is pretty good at contesting it early. So I think we're going to pass as well. End of turn, nobody's won. Nobody even has control, let alone more control than the opponent's influence. We can discard 1 card to draw a card. 3, we're gonna get 3, 4, 5, maybe lose low ball, which is 4. We could actually play this guy next turn, which would be interesting. So I think we're gonna go ahead and throw out, it's more likely we play Ticks. We'll throw out Tattoo Man, and then we'll draw back up to our hand size. We drew a Noon Job and another one of those, which is good. One of those types of cards. All right, low ball. We all ante up. So far, starting on 2 kings. Joker, we lose that, and we just got 2 kings legal. Hopefully Maddie gets 2 pairs or something. So far, 8, 8, 3, 2. Fuck. Maddie wins low ball with 2 aces. Were you legal or no?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you were.
Was he illegal? Oh,
No, you're legal. You're good. Once our Joker shows up in any hand, it has to be aced. It's out of the game. Maddie gets the low ball, so she gets first player, let alone the money we anteed up. So that's a 2 credit swing. It's pretty meaningful. And her upkeep is now just 2. Benji should have untapped. What does the strike keyword do? Flavor. It doesn't do anything inherently, but there's some cards that care about strikes, just like some cards care about ranches or cattle markets or whatever. Doesn't she have 2 pair? Wait, did she have 2 pair? Did we fuck that up? No, she didn't. Almost.
Your chat's against me.
Oh, they're open. Oh yeah, it's a tribe. Yeah, it's more like a tribe thing. Our income is 3 + 4 is 5. We pay 1 for Leon. We're gonna keep Leon around. We'll take our 4. Maddie goes first. She's the winner of today. This is just a quarter. Maddie's playing Shelby. We've seen this guy before. He wants to fight that he's unfavored in to become stronger. It's a pretty great ability. It's unfortunately this doesn't give us influence, which is kind of what you want early not to lose, but we don't even have a good control play. Mark an opposing dude. This is a really strong card. So the Joker had to be used to increase the poker's hand rank. Well, the Joker has to be used. You can't opt to not use it, and you can just say it's like whatever makes your hand rank the lowest in low ball. I don't think you're ever forked to make a choice that makes your hand higher, at least in low ball. It's worth noting that this is a regular Joker. There are other kinds of Jokers you can include in your decks that have different abilities. This is just a standard Joker, which shows up 95% of the time from my understanding. I'm actually not that entrenched in meta of Doomtown. We just play with the starter decks usually. I did build a deck the other day. It's a bicycle deck, so it actually looks like a legal deck, so you have only one of every color and suit, and it's really fun to play because the poker hands look like shit. You have to win off other tricks. It's back to us. We could just play Ticks. The upkeep is a bit unwieldy. It basically cancels out the strike on top of Leon. We also could control the Epidemic Laboratory. Let's try this. Let's try and see how this goes. Epidemic Laboratory, Maddie, I'm paying 2 for it. Has no control, no upkeep. But as a boot, you can boot this to make a job. Your skilled dude leads a job marking this deed. So a job means a shootout is happening right here. Skilled dude is somebody who has a skill. So Huckster is a skill. And if successful, this deed gains a control point and production permanently, which is great. So the laboratory does work. It's all you, Maddie. Maddie's passing. Okay. So you know what, Leon? Noon boot. Make a huckster skill check against the value of a dude at this or an adjacent location. If successful, boot that dude. So we're going to boot him. He's going to do a huckster skill check. This is our first skill check that we're going to do. Skill checks is how you do magic against the value of a dude at this or adjacent location. The value is the card value. So this is a 2 of spades. So pretty easy. So when you do a pull, you pull the top card of your deck, you look at it, and you add its huckster skill to the value of the card. So we're at 11. 11 is much higher than 10, or much higher, excuse me, than 2. So you boot that dude. So Xiaodan is booted. Back to you, Maddie. This is important because Xiaodan can't refuse callouts, but Maddie can move him home with her like abilities. Maddie's passing. All right, so we're gonna use the Epidemic Laboratory. Controller noon job boot. Your skilled dude leads a job, marking this deed. So we're gonna make Papa Marias lead a job there. So he moves there. And he leads the job. Maddie can't contest the job because she doesn't have anyone adjacent or at the location, so it automatically succeeds. So if successful, this deed permanently gains 1 control and 1 production. So 1 control, 1 production. Everybody who is in the winner's posse of the job once it's done goes home booted. It's back to you, Maddie. We still haven't drawn a hex yet, which is pretty bad. Maddie's passing. I feel like we can probably play Tix Argylnak here. We're gonna pay 4 for him. He has 2 stud, which is great. He's Abomination, which doesn't matter. 1 upkeep, which is a bit rough, but most importantly, if Tix is in a shootout and you have there's other hucksters in the location, you can't do shitty like action cards. You have to basically Tix draws aggro, which is really great. So I can walk in confidently with another huckster and know he won't get absolutely beat to shit with like event cards that Maddie keeps in her hand pretty actively. So this is a really good combination. He also has 2 stud, which is really good for fighting, and he's not that expensive as much as the upkeep is, kind of a thing. I probably should have played him first before this laboratory, but Maddie couldn't contest. It's back to you, Maddie. Maddie's passing, I'm passing. No one has more control than the other player, so nobody wins. Unboot your cards. Discard 1, draw to hand size. This is a really strong card, but I'd rather have D locations. We want to throw out something. These are both pretty good resolutions. All right. We got some spells. That's huge. We don't have money anymore, so we're going to borrow for the Ghost Rock. This is the next day, and so we play low ball. So no matter if I win or lose, I have to pay that Ghost Rock back to the bank immediately as soon as I have money, superseding anything else. 3 of a kind. Maddie has ace, 3, 2, ace, ace. So she has 2 pairs. 3 of a kind is better than 2 pairs, so she wins. Maddie was cheating, so we can do a cheating resolution. Nah, no thank you. So Maddie wins the low ball, unfortunately for us. She does upkeep first. Not going great for her in terms of money. She has a lot, but nothing making money, so it gets 3, 1, 2. We gain 3. This has 1 upkeep, so 4, 5, 6. We have to pay 1 back because we borrowed for low ball, and we have to pay 2 for this. So we only gain 3, right? 6 minus borrow minus 2, yeah. And Maddie goes first. What's a TS hotkey for rotate 90? As long as the degrees here is up to 90, Q and E rotate. It will rotate equal to increments, whatever you set up here. We have it on 90 because we don't need to do anything else. Oh, fuck. Maddie's paying a lot of money. It's Tao Chi Chow, right? Oh, no. Oh, the mayor's office. 4-2. Pretty good. 2 control points, huge, and a really good ability. Someone can boot this to lower the influence of a dude at this or adjacent location by 1. So that's great. All right. And this is the first time we've seen spells. Hexes can only be equipped by hucksters. They're the only people that can do this sort of magic, and they show up as deeds, or sorry, as goods, so they're hearts. And again, you can use an action to play a good onto somebody at a location you control. Luckily, we control our home. These spells have either shootout or noon abilities, and they have a difficulty. That's why it says noon hex 7. So basically, you do a pull, you see the top card of your deck, and you add its value to your huckster skill. And if you succeed, you got to do the cost, the ability printed to it. If you fail, sometimes there's a drawback, but usually it just whiffs. These are really important cards. This is a strong card and lets you move around really aggressively, even join shootouts out of nowhere and do other things on top of that, which is dope. And then Blood Curse is also a really strong card. Dude at this or adjacent location, -1 influence, -1 bullets. That's great. Or during a shootout, somebody gets -2 bullets. Very, very good. And you notice this is what's really cool, where so you have to build your deck around also succeeding your hexes, and a lot of the like magic decks will the hex decks will kind of like skew to higher value cards on that basis because that's more consistent. I think we can play all this stuff really. I think we're mostly going to be doing our fighting with maybe, I don't know, I think Valeria is going to go out more than anybody else, so we're going to give Valeria Maddie Shadow Walk. So noon hex 7, we can boot her to move to any location, this huckster, or doing a shootout, she can join, and then we can immediately make a huckster, another shootout play, which is really strong if you have, like, say, another shootout play like this. Like, she can shadow walk in, and then suddenly blood curse someone, which is a good combo. It's back to you, Maddie. All right, so she's booting the mayor's office to give somebody +1 influence for this turn. She's giving Zhao Dan 1 influence. I'm assuming Zhao Dan maybe wants to come over here and control the epidemic laboratory. So we're going to boot Leon to do a huckster skill check against Zhao Dan's value, which is pretty low. And we got a 9. 9 + 1 is 10, higher than 2. Zhao Dan's booted, so that influence isn't going to do much today. He's a really good control card, Leon. Back to you, Maddie. Maddie's booting the 108 Righteous Bandits. Move one of your dudes to location of one of your other dudes. So there's no way to move a booted dude besides other abilities. Otherwise, we could have walked out and called out Zhao Dan, which we haven't. Nobody's here to contest the Epidemic Laboratory. So Papa Marias is going to go do a job here. Boot. Your skilled dude. He is skilled. He's a huckster. Leads a job marking this deed. If successful, this deed gains +1 control and +1 production permanently. And it succeeds because Maddie can't contest because nobody's adjacent. That's going to get an extra production and extra control. And we're up on 2 control point with just the lab itself. Back to you, Maddie. There's, like, you know, there's one card that we threw out that's like really important, and that's ooh. Here we go. So Astakichi, really strong. Why are your dudes better than their dudes? They're great. What's up? We can only hope they are. How's it going? Asakichi says, as a noon ability, you can discard a card to move one of your other dudes from this location. A lot of her, like, little shitters can move around pretty aggressively. So Maddie's going to go over and control my Epidemic Laboratory because she has more influence there than I. So she's at 4 control, which is a pretty scary number. Randall is pretty ass at fighting, which is obviously good to us. So we might want to go and contest that relatively soon. But we don't have to do that right away. What we're going to do is we're going to give Val over here, we're going to pay 1 to equip her with a blood curse. There's no limit to how many spells you can put onto a huckster, if I'm not mistaken. Doomtown has the greatest terms. It really does. And, like, admittedly, they're kind of goofy and silly, and dude is weird because it does sound pretty gendered, which is not very accurate for the game itself. But it's actually really important for game. Netrunner does a really good job of this too, where if you have a pretty, like, good, very elegant, very specific vocabulary, it's really easy to talk about game turns, and, like, card text gets simpler, stuff like that. Okay, so we equipped Blood Curse. It's back to Maddie. I think we're going to try and take control of this, but the problem is Maddie's passing, so it's back to us, is that Randall has 2 influence, which is pretty difficult to deal with because we don't have a lot of influence on a single person. I think we're still going to go maybe for a fight here. This is also private or it's public? It's public. To me, dude is non-gendered, but I'm a dude, so I don't know if it's fair to me to say that. Yeah, well, dude classically I think just meant ranch hand. Like, I don't think classically it was gendered, but dude, where's my car and all that. I guess kind of gendered. I don't even know. All right, so we're gonna move in here. Yeah, she has the starting coin. That's really annoying. Tix is gonna move in. We still don't control it because she has 2 influence there, which is more than 0. But Tix is there. Tix is really strong. All right, Randall is calling out Tix. Doesn't look like a good fight in Maddie's favor, but we'll see how this goes. I think we can take this fight. I'm going to accept this fight. So Tix and Randall are at least fighting. Maddie gets to make her posse first. It's just Randall, and that's largely also because the only people that can join a posse are people at the location who are booted or non-booted, or anybody at an adjacent location as long as they're not booted, because they have to boot to join. So it's only going to be Randall here. Anybody can join besides Leon and Papa, because they'd have to join. They have to boot to join. I'm going to have Willa join the posse. She has to boot to do so. Posses are now formed. You check. Oh, hold on. Did I fuck up my influence? Yeah, I guess I gave Randall Jake real influence. It's important to know Jake's influence isn't real. It's only during sundown, so he's bad at controlling places, but is good for not losing the game. It's a really cool card. I can keep that. Oh, actually, no, I have more influence than that. I have 4 plus Jake. So we'll do like this. I'll just use real for Jake. It doesn't matter. We almost never use real for Jake. We use fake influence for Jake. Jake's a very common card. No? All right, so this is our posse. Maddie, this is our shootout. It is a public place, so no one's going to be wanted for shooting here. Maddie gets the first shootout play. Sun in your eyes. So sun in your eyes, choose the dude in the shootout. Dude gets -2 bullets. Minimum comes a draw. So Tix is now a 0 draw. Not very good as a shooter. It's back to us, and here we go. Valeria is going to attempt to Shadow Walk, Noon, Hex, Shootout, Hex 7, excuse me, Boot. So we're going to do that first. She's Huckster 1. So we add 1 to the value of this top card. It succeeds because it's higher than 7, which is the difficulty. So she can join our posse and make an additional shootout play. So she's joining our posse, and we get to go again and make a shootout play. Next, Blood Curse, Shootout Hex 9, Boot. One of the opposing dudes. Oh, actually, no, we're just gonna pass here. Maddie doesn't have bullets to take away just yet. So back to you, Maddie. We're not passing. We just did our shootout ability. Sun in your eyes on Willa. She is, again, fuck Maddie. She is 0 draw bullets. Do you need to tie to difficulty beat it? Tying is good. Yeah, tying is fine. Blood Curse doesn't do anything because Randall doesn't have real bullets. So I think we're actually going to legit pass this time. And you might ask, why didn't, well, yeah, never mind. Maddie has to, wow, we got pulled apart a bit. It's back to you, Maddie. There you go. Stakes just rose. This is why we waited. So Shelby's entered the fight. Shelby is a 2 stud, and interestingly, his ability is never going to fire because we don't have higher bullets than him. Our posse only has 0 bullets because. Oh, he's already stud? Okay, fantastic. So we're going to Blood Curse him, Shootout Hex 9 Boot. So we're going to boot this and hope for a Hex, the Hex to succeed. We got it. Jack is 11. A couple things are going to happen here. Firstly, he gets -2 bullets, so he's now a 0 stud. It's important to know Stakes Just Rose made him a stud. But more importantly, we're going to boot this. React. After you pull, dude succeeds at a spell pull while not at home, you may discard a card from your hand to gain 1 Ghost Rock and draw a card. Not only is the economy really good, but cycling spells, or cycling your hand is really important. So we're going to throw out Mika, draw a card. If we had a shootout play, that would have been sick, right? And then we can get a credit. It's back to Maddie. Maddie passes. We pass. This is actually going to be a close shootout. Maddie, who's your shooter? All right. In theory, I think that's wrong. Why? Because you won't be getting you'll be getting 0 stud. If you pick Randall, you'll be getting 1 stud.
True. Yeah, okay.
All right. So Maddie's going to pick Randall as a shooter. So it's important to know he's a 0 stud. Randall's just naturally a 0 draw. So Maddie's going to be drawing 5 cards. Shelby isn't the shooter, so she's going to get just the color of his bullets. Doesn't matter the money. So she's going to draw 6. Fucking long way. Still fucks her shit up every day. So he's a 7. And then Randall is a 0 flip, but 0 is 0. So Maddie's just going to draw 7 cards. On our side, Valeria is a 0 stud. He's a 0 draw. She's a 0 draw. So we're going to be drawing, we're going to make Tix our shooter. We're going to be drawing 6. That's it. Oh man, we can lose this so easily. She has so many shootout plays. Opening hand. 10 jack, 10 jack. Could be worse. Oh, we were like pretty close to some good stuff. Oh wait, no, we can discard 2. We can discard 2. They're 2 draw. What are we thinking? We can discard 2. We're fine. So she's our shooter. Actually, no. We can discard 1. He's our shooter, so we get nothing because he's a 0 draw. But the number of bullets doesn't matter, just the color. So 6, flip 1. We just get nothing from him. So we're gonna flip one of these. I don't know if our deck has more 8s or 9s. Maybe we'll look at a discard bin and do the opposite. I'm seeing more 9s here. I'm seeing 8s as well. All right, Chad, what are we doing? We're keeping 8s or 9s. Why not make the brass bullet a shooter? Then we'll be draw 7. Because he lost both of his bullets. Maddie played Sun in her eyes, so he's 0 draw. He's 0 draw. Are we flipping the 9 or the 8, chat? I think we flip one of these for sure. This is, by the way, what we're getting at. We're pretty far away from any of them. In theory, we could try and get a straight, but I think we're closer to something else. A Tix is a brass. Yeah, Tix became brass. What are we doing, chat? Keep an 8, keep a 9. Keep 8, okay. For what it's worth, that wouldn't have changed anything, but pretty great. All right, I think the best hand we can make is this. Maddie, what do you got? Full House Legal versus our garbage 2 pairs. So the difference, Full House Legal is 7, our 2 pairs is 3, that's 4 casualties. In theory, Maddie gets the first resolution. She doesn't get a cheating resolution, but she can play a legit resolution if she wants. All right. Rip? Not exactly. We're going to ace Willa, Resolution, ace Willa to send all your dudes in the posse home booted. So we're gonna ace Willa. She's literally dead, and we just don't take any casualties because as soon as everyone leaves the posse, the shootout is over, and there's no other abilities associated to it. Yeah, Will is really good for that. She can get you out some bullshit. Now the issue here is that Maddie controls this, and she has 4 control. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 influence, so like this is fine. Once the server's empty, the run ends. Exactly, yeah. If the server disappears, the run entirely ends. It's back to us, because Maddie called us out, I believe, so it's our turn. Yeah, Jay can come fight, right? I'm gonna play Carter's Bounties. It's 2. This is risky because Maddie's probably better contesting right now than I am. It's a 2 for 1, which is not bad, but it's a really strong ability. Move your dude into your posse from any location. The controller can do that. So if Maddie controls that, she gains the ability, let alone the control point. And I'm gonna put it on the other side of our home. Just turn off your pad campaign. Exactly. She turned off our fucking Maryland at least. All right, we're coming out of this with a pass. It's okay. We're gonna be stronger next day. We're getting a pretty good huckster here. So everyone on boots. You check if anyone won. Maddie only had 4 control. I had 6 influence, so she didn't have more than I, and I obviously didn't have more control than her. This is temporary influence, so we'll fix that and everything on boots. We can discard 1. I kind of like these, but having 2 might be overkill. We'll keep him. This is the card that we're looking for. This card's insane. This is exactly what we want. It still wouldn't have been good enough, but it's really good. And now, unfortunately, we are punished for keeping this because we got a second copy. It's the next day. We ante up for low ball to see who's the winner of today. We want to lose this. 9, 10, 9. 2 pairs of 9s. We lost our fucking joker. 3 of a kind. 2, 3, 3. Ace. So Maddie has 2 pairs, which is worse than 3 of a kind, so she wins. We're cheating, so she could put a cheat punishment on us, or cheating resolution if she has one. You got one, Maddie? You want to play? She says no thanks, so she wins the low ball by having the worst hand. We lose our second joker. I think she still has 2 jokers in her whole deck. Maddie, do you still have 2 jokers?
Yeah.
Or did you discard 1? 6. And Leon, so we're just going to take 4 off the top. And Maddie gets to go first because she's the winner today, and we're not doing well. Is it bad to have 2 of the same cheating resolution? Could you not use them both? For any hand that's revealed, you can only play 1 cheating resolution. Maddie knows we have cheating resolutions though. But yeah, you can play as many resolutions going back and forth before both pairs pass, but cheating, only 1 per hand. Otherwise, if someone cheats, you basically like nuke them. If you had enough cheating resolutions, it'd just be like, oh, they die, they boot, this place is destroyed. Like, you would absolutely ruin them. Maddie plays Olivia Jinx. This is a neutral card. It's pretty weird. It's cheap. It has upkeep though, but 2 brass, not bad. 2 influence, pretty good. The school marm, don't take no guff. She's as good with a gun as she's with the kids. And Maddie's now at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 influence, which is pretty great. So she needs to take 2 more. Randall, for what it's worth, has a really strong ability. He's a storyteller, and you get a increased hand size as long as he's around 2 of his other dudes, so he can tell stories. So Maddie did lose her increased hand size by having Randall over here, which is a pretty big deal. Randall's also 2 influence, so if we kill Randall, like, Maddie is going to have a much harder time not contesting our control, which is pretty big. And the problem is here, like, we could easily like Leon fucking Randall, but then Maddie can just run away with like Righteous Bandits, or I don't know. It's difficult out there, you know? All right, I think we might want to shoot someone out. We can also give someone -1 influence from a distance, which is pretty good, which makes it easier to control some of our shit. But I think Leon's ability is going to be the most important thing today that we have. For what it's worth, we also have Papa Marias's ability, which is really strong, because we can recall somebody. I think we might want to go ahead and do that. So we're going to be a bit brave here. Valyria is moving to the town square. Maddie's booting the Righteous Bandits to move one of your dudes to location to one of your other dudes. So Shelby's coming home, which is pretty okay. On that note, she's used that ability, which is pretty good for us. So we're actually going to use Leon's kick. Make a huckster skill check against the value of a dude at this or adjacent location. This is adjacent to our home. His value is 2. So 10 plus 1 is more than 2. So Randall's going to get the old booterino. Leon's yuck and kick is so strong. Olivia moving into the town square. I'm assuming that she's going to get a fucking Bowie knife at some point and become a 3-stud out of nowhere. We don't have guns to deal with that. Shadowwalk is a really strong ability. Let's be annoying. Valeria is gonna come in. Maddie, do you mind? Can you push your dude line back just one? Thanks. So we're gonna come in and take the mayor's office. We get the 2 control and we can control the ability. So we have the mayor's office. We only have 1 influence there, so Maddie only has to move 1 influence worth of dude there to return it to hers. Unfortunately, she doesn't have that many good options. Fuck! Kidnapping. Oh my god. This thing is rough. And this is a really strong. And this is the kind of cards our deck needs to be able to deal with long way. This basically forces a job. It tells somebody to be like, hey, you're out of position, or hey, I don't like you. You've been staying at home for too long. You mark them, a shootout will be happening. And regardless of whether they join the posse for the shootout, if the shootout succeeds, that person will be discarded and they will die. So we basically have no reason not to fight. Maddie, who's doing the job? Yeah, she can. Mark a dude. She has to boot though to join. So she boots to join because this says noon job boot. Your posse must have more total bullets than the Mark dude, and Maddie does. She has 2 bullets. It's just Olivia? He also has to boot to join because he was at adjacent location. So he is 2 draw. She's 2 draw. That's good. Raise the bounty of each of your dude and posse by 1. So basically, for the rest of the game, if these people get discarded, killed, anytime they leave the table, we'll get their bounty. And if Maddie wins the shootout, we get to discard the mark. So Valeria will be discarded. Unfortunately, nobody can join the posse because they're too far back. I probably should have moved Tix into town square first, just in case this happened. Tix could have ran in to join. Wait, it's Wednesday? What is this, A&R? What's happening? Also, hey, Doomtown looks sick. Never actually saw. Ensuring that every player has a cheating card in hand for the shootout at the cost of making everyone in Maddie's posse a stud. So Maddie's not going to be cheating, which is kind of the worst for us. So you can look at your deck. Oh, I shouldn't move that yet because she's searching. And add a cheating resolution to your hand. Yeah, whatever. We'll do it. Deck or discard pile, right? Yeah, okay. What's a good cheating resolution we have? I think we just got fetch. We have fetch, right? We have fetch? Do we have fetch? No, we don't have fetch. Do we have fetch? Fetch is like a spell. No, we don't have fetch in this deck. It's like a pretty good spell for punishing cheating. We also know that Maddie has a Joker in the next 7, so like this shootout's gonna be fucked. We can deal with this. We can't. We're gonna be drawing 5. She's the only shooter. It's gonna be really bad for us. Sorry, these are really small. I don't think we have anything. Whatever. We'll take Ricochet back. It's a good card. It's better than Lepus usually. And if we have to discard a card, I'll discard a Lepus. Lepus. All right, Maddie, you get the first shootout play. Oh yeah, sorry, you did. It's also worth noting the card that Maddie played is a headline, which is a subtype. It means whoever plays a headline, nobody else can play a headline. It's like very strong effects that are like, this is what the shootout's about. I don't actually know all the headlines off. It's never been that common that I've tried to play a headline into a headline, but for what it's worth, it means it's a strong ability and only once per shootout. It also means Maddie can't play 2 headlines, which would be really good. Okay. What it's worth, she also has 2 influence there, so she does control this place. Oh, wow. 1. So you should have 2, 4. Oh yeah, so we just didn't take it. That shouldn't matter in the shootout. Move this huckster to join. You may make another shootout play. I can do this, I guess. I guess we're going to do it. But the thing is, like, whenever I do it, Maddie just like buffs the other person. We'll try it. Shoot a hex 9 boot. It's actually really important we try this. So one opposing dude gets -2 bullets. So I'm gonna try and make Olivia. I'm gonna try and reduce her bullets. So we do a pull. It's a jack. It succeeds. So she is now a 0 draw. And most importantly, we have done a spell not at her home. So after you pull a spell while not at home. Oh, okay. So she's 0 stud. Excuse me. So while you do a spell pull while not at home, you may discard a card from your hand to gain 1 Ghost Rock and draw a card. So I don't think we're going to need 2 of these. So we're trying to look for a shootout play. We didn't find one. We also gain Ghost Rock. Oh, your dude becomes a stud. Oh, that's huge. Who'd you pick?
Shelby again. Well, whichever one you would have chosen, I guess, doesn't matter.
Okay, so it's Shelby. Yeah, so she made Shelby a stud, so now Shelby is a 0 stud. I thought this was all your dudes. That's way worse, and it would have been absurd before. It's back to you, Maddie. Ooh, okay, so this is not gonna go well for us. I'm gonna pass as well. Maddie passed. So we just draw 5 cards. Maddie, how many do you draw?
8.
I think it's 7 flip 2.
Yeah, you're right.
So Maddie draws 5 as a base. She gets a bonus from Long Way. She's gonna make Shelby or Olivia her shooter, so she just gets the color of Shelby's bullets, which technically is a stud. So 5, 6, 7, and then she flips the full value of Olivia, or she gets the full value of Olivia, which is 2 flip. We just draw 5. That's a problem. Is like Valir is our only person in our posse, which is terrible because we have to get not only the color but also the number for bullets, which means we just draw 5. So heart of the cards and all that.
Wait, it was 7 flip what? 1?
You're at 7 flip 2. Oh, that's only 1 card. Okay. Not great, guys. Really not great. That's also cheating. That's actually a really big point of this game is that like if you can force someone to cheat, it's huge on the basis like if I don't draw a lot of cards, like I'm more likely to have to cheat. And that means we're gonna absolutely floored by whatever resolution she added into her hand with the card that she played. So this is like the absolute worst for us. We're getting absolutely stumped. I did definitely fuck up though. I think we needed to move Tix in before she moved in, because as soon as she moves in and there's a kidnapping or shootout, Tix couldn't have joined. If Tix could have joined, we would have actually drawn 8 cards, which is way better than 5, and then having to keep all 5 and then having to cheat. You good?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Oh, I was cheating.
She cheated. She fucking cheated. She did it. We have 3 of a kind cheating. For what it's worth, Maddie is the first player, so she gets the first cheating resolution. She gets to eat her Joker, though. That's good for us. Wow.
You cheated, huh?
Yeah, I did. I drew 5 cards. I couldn't. A coach whip. Cheating player must boot one of their dudes. If in a shootout, the dude gets aced instead. If they have a legal hand, you choose the dude to get aced. Valeria gets aced. The shootout's over. We can't even play cheating resolution. She gets a ghost rock. Yeah. This is poorly, my friends. If we were the winner, we would have been fine. Coach Whip, by the way, is one of the strongest cheating resolutions. It was the card everybody played in all their decks for a really long time, and they had to make better cheating resolution cards just to deal with it, from my understanding. We lose 1 influence. It's okay. We're probably still in it. The biggest problem is we lost all our hexes on 1 player. We can't actually play this because we don't get a resolution as the fight's over. So that was a job. So everyone who participated in the job and succeeded goes home booted because the job is now over. Maddie called us out? Oh, she kidnapped us. Right, excuse me. Let's group this up and put it away. So it's back to us, and we're okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 influence still. Maddie has 4 control. She has this 2 and this 2. A lot of her better fighters are booted, so we can kind of bounce back on this. Oh, we had fucking Carter's bounties the whole time. What are we doing, chat? We had Carter's bounties the whole time. Oh, we could have added Tix in the fight. We could have won that. Normally when you play with a full table, you look at your options before you do anything. We had this. We could have moved a dude from a posse from any location. Tix could have fucking showed up. We would have got a 2-step bonus. We would have crushed through her. Feels bad. Feels really bad. Tix moves in. F. Yeah, real F. Tix moves to town square. All right, she's moving there. Tix is come over to the epidemic laboratory. Now Randall can't move. Maddie's using the ability in the mayor's office just to go give Zhao Dan an extra influence for the turn. It could matter because with 0 influence, you'll never really control anything. With 1, she can. And it looks like Tix is going to just call out Randall. Randall has to accept. So it's public. My posse is just Tix. Maddie, who's your posse? Just Randall. It's a public location, so Randall is not going to be taking any bounty on. Maddie, you get the first shootout play if you'd like. Maddie's going to go straight pass. So it's in our benefit. I think it's a pretty safe shootout, but we're going to boot Carter's bounties to make Papa Marias join just so we can get another draw, because if he's not the shooter, we at least get the color of the bullet. Back to you, Maddie. We could have actually put Jake in there too. Like we could have just gone really safe. Maddie passes. I think we're going to go ahead and pass as well. So Maddie draws just 6. 5 as a base, 1 because of fucking long way, and Randall gets a full value and a number because he is the shooter. We're gonna draw 7, flip 1 because we don't get we get the full value and color, excuse me, from ticks, and we get just the color from our non-shooters. So we're gonna draw 7, flip 1. Feels good. K and K, Jack 10, 8, Jack. Okay, so we're not drawing as well as I think we should have. KK Jack 9 10 8. So we have to swap one of these. Right now, what can we work at? That's probably the best that we're working at right now. The question is, which one of these are we more likely to draw another copy of? We can maybe just look at our discard pile. If you know your deck well, this is obviously very good for you. We have 3 9s in the discard bin and 2 8s in the discard bin. I just don't know what our deck is more of. Again, if you know your deck, you know, like just basic level, be like, I have 15 of these, 14 of these, 12 of these. That's usually how it is. So you know which one you have more of. You don't have to do any like like fucking poker counting. Disco the 10, you got it. Okay, well, it didn't matter. We might get dunked on, but Maddie doesn't have a lot of choice in her hand. She only draws 6. So the best hand here we can draw is actually pretty poorly. So we're gonna do this. We don't have a flush, do we? No. Aha! If your hand is legal, you don't take any cards and draw a card. Really, really strong. Randall is out. Maddie's losing 2 influence. He's just discarded, and we draw a card. Ricochet is absolutely nuts, and they needed to print good Chain resolutions just to deal with the ubiquity of Coach Whip. All right, so Maddie, I called you out. It's back to you. Also, we get the control back, which is huge, and we're gonna get this income because we now control it. All right. Rip straight. This is also really good, but we're going to need hexes. This is a very, very strong card. Is this card worth playing around? What's up, Maddie? Oh, I'm sorry. So Maddie says she's missing one. She should have 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's just under here. But you're at 5. This is right, yeah? Okay. 1, 2. So she's at 1, 2, 3, 4. We are at 3. So we can at least make things pretty annoying here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pay 3 and try and swing the board state a bit into our side. And we're going to play the Hellstrom Plant. Is that better than Surveyor's Office? Yeah, it's cheaper. So we're going to play the Hellstrom on this side of our street. It gives us 1 control point, which we don't have more than Maddie. Maddie's at 5 for this turn, and we have a 4. But it's a 3 for 2, which is pretty good. And on top of that, it has an ability which actually is never going to matter for our deck. How come Papa Marias isn't booted? Oh, is the bar? Yeah, we sent him in with the Carter's bounties. Otherwise, you're right. He'd have to boot to join because he has to move to adjacent location. So this ability is never going to matter. I don't think our deck has any horses or gadgets, but we play this card mostly because there's a jack, so we have to play on value. And a 3 for 2 control point, even if it was blank, a lot of decks would play it. That's the thing about this, is like you have to make some really interesting decisions about deck construction, and sometimes you just put cards in your deck. It's really cool. Maddie's passing. We're going to pass as well. Hell yeah. That day went okay for us, even though we lost like the big one. Oh, we could have done Epidemic Laboratory. Oh, we could have won the game. Arguably won the game. We probably weren't at a good point to do that. We could have done a job on the Epidemic Laboratory and Maddie couldn't have contested it, so she would have to go and fight because we'd be at 5 control points. Well, actually, no, maybe not, but we probably should have done that. We're going to do it next turn anyways. So we can discard 1 card. This card's not amazing considering we don't have any hexes, so we're going to get rid of that. We draw up to our hand size. We do have a hex. This is a fucking wild hex. It's really cool for a control deck that wants to go into one big fight. Like, this is cool because this card, you'll draw people into a fight, and even if you lose, you don't care because those people will be just absolutely gassed for the turn. It's a really interesting card. It hits everybody though. It just basically says everybody pestilence, and I like that a lot. And this is one of the strongest cards again in the whole game. The game is struggling with some design stuff where they need to make strong values, because the thing is, like, no matter how many different 10 of clubs people are printing in the game, people just always go back to this one. This one I imagine might get eroded. The game did a really good job with eroded, where they would actually reprint eroded cards in later packs and include them for free, and there's a fair few. Even Coach Whip was eroded at some point. This kind of represents one of those that I could see being eroded at some point down the line, but this is just such a good card. Maddie has 5 influence. I think she only has influence. Yeah, she had 5, so we would tie. You're right, she didn't have to fight. We're gonna go for low ball here. No, we could have been 5 for 5. Oh, sorry. I mean, if I booted the Epidemic, I would have got another control. I wouldn't have had more than you, though. Jack 10, 2, 10, Jack. So we're 2 pair legal. Maddie is at ace 3, 3, ace, ace, full house, cheating. Yeah, Yeah, that's fine. We'll just win. We don't have any cheating resolutions to play. So we'll take our upkeep, which is pretty good right now. 2, 4 on this, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we only are paying off 2 ticks and Leon, so we make 8, which is good money. Maddie, how much did you make?
4. Hold on, I think I might have shuffled the Joker back into that.
In your deck or your discard pile?
Deck.
Okay, Maddie thinks she might have just shuffled her Joker in. We don't have any cheating resolutions play technically. All right, here you can search by name. Oh, you got it? Cool. Maddie had her Joker showed up and she forgot to ace it, so she just went for her deck and got it. We get the first play today, which is pretty cool. We're doing pretty okay for ourselves. I think it's in our best interest to give somebody a hex just to scare people. It also means that we can maybe play the 4th ring ability, which is kind of cool. If we play another control point, we are technically going to put Maddie into close to check. We also could, I think we're going to wait to do this till the end of the turn just so that we don't have someone booted from turn 1. Maddie, Papa Marias is going to the Mark of Pestilence. It's a hex, difficulty controls town square. And hey, Pedigree's Pawn Shop. After plays a non-gadget good, so Maddie would make money off of all our spells. Luckily, we got that spell in before. We can also play the Surveyor's Office, which gives us a control point, which is good. I think we're going to be better at fighting than Maddie now, but it's a bit difficult. Yeah, we'll try it. This could be a mistake. I'm going to play the Surveyor's Office, Maddie, over here for 4. Gives us 1 control point. It's adjacent to all out of town deeds, which is cool because it's easy to get there. And move this dude from this location to adjacent location is a strong ability. And we get a control for that. So now we're 5 to 5. Maddie could easily use the mayor's office to give someone 5 influence. Right now she's checked actually, so check technically. But she's playing Dalmay. I'll give you a control for that. So now she's 5 to 5. She's out of check. Dalmay is transient, which is a really strong ability. And it says after Dalmay comes into play during high noon, move one other dude. Oh, actually, Maddie, you can't do that. If you read Dalmay, he says you can only use move an anarchist dude. Yeah, so she's going to move someone else. For what it's worth, Olivia is neutral. I think you moved her to your hand. I got you. She's neutral. You don't see the anarchist, the 108 righteous bandits logo underneath her influence, so she has to do someone else. This is also a transient subtype card. Kung Fu you can ignore. There's no Kung Fu in this deck, but it's generally a card that's cheap to bring in but has high upkeep, and so you basically don't pay their upkeep at the end of the turn, and they come back every once in a while. Maddie actually has 2 of this in her deck, so she's just going to value move Zhao Dan into town square, which is, we're fine with that, I guess. Okay, this is going to be interesting because she's going to have to posture for something. Unfortunately, we don't have really good ways to capitalize on the money that we have in our hand. Like, if we had a big dude to play down here, we'd be so excited. But unfortunately, we don't. It's also really good in this game to play someone aggressively. Just because if you get the cards out of your hand, you cycle through your deck more. Like, if we don't do anything and Maddie passes and we pass, like, we're only going to probably draw 3 more cards as opposed to, like, what could be 5. So being a bit aggressive is pretty sweet. Now, it's also awkward where these players are, because if they want to move anywhere, they have to boot. You can't move from here to here, or here to home, or here to anywhere without booting. So they're kind of locked down for this turn, which is a bit unfortunate. Who's Maddie's best fighter? Right now it's Dalmay, so we might want to hold on to Leon until Dalmay kind of walks out here and we boot him. What does Transient do? Just a tribe? Yeah, it's basically just a tribe for high upkeep dudes that are generally cheap. They generally, you play them, get their reaction, and then probably don't pay their upkeep. You could. Paying 2 for a 2 stud, they even spend 2 on. It's basically like playing 4 for no upkeep across 2 turns. Like, it's not bad at all. And 1 influence, sometimes you just need to play 2 to get an influence to not lose. You know what? Like, fucking, I think we fucking pass. I think we might pass. We can move Leon out, which just means he could technically boot anyone at home, which is cool. But I kind of like him here. I also can move him to Carter's Bounties, which is also pretty fine. He's a huckster too for Mark of Pestilence. I don't think we need to do anything here. Let's see where Zhao Dan moves. Maddie, we're gonna pass. You see, this is where the chess starts, where it all becomes like 3 turns ahead strategy. And she is really good at moving her people. Even if we boot someone with Leon, give him that old the clown kick, she can pull him home with 108, which is pretty wild. Not a lot of people can do that. She's using Asakichi, so discard a card. But that's actually, like, anything that says discard a card is actually pretty good on the basis that it just makes you cycle your deck better. What did you discard? Okay, she's discarding Clem, 1 influence. Arguably 2 influence person, and she is taking control off of us by controlling here. She has more control here, so I think we are going to do we do Leon here? Yeah, I think we do Leon here. Maddie, I'm going to use Leon to try and do a pull against Jenk's value. 10 plus 1 does it. She's booted. She's in the mayor's office to give Zhao Dan some influence, so she gets an extra influence for this turn. So we'll give her that temp influence. You know what? Tix is gonna call out Olivia. She has to accept because she's booted. That's just for chat. All right, so my posse is gonna be Papa Mine, yes, and Tix. We could have Jake join. I'm hoping not. If this goes poorly, what's gonna be bad for us? Maddie, who's your posse? The only person who can join right now is Xiaodan. He had to boot though. We also control this, which is nice. Because in theory, we can have Leon join. It's just Olivia. Okay. We get the first shootout play. Or not the number. We're gonna put these on the table. So 7 flip 1. And nobody has any jokers left. So we're playing legit poker at this point. 7 flip 1. 8 8 9 9. So this is cheating. So I don't think we want to cheat. So I think we're gonna throw out. We can only throw out one. I think we're gonna throw out this and hope for the best. Shit. We've been drawing really poorly. Is the lab private? No, the lab is public. It is literally a place to go get medicine. But you're right. She would get a bounty if it wasn't. All right. Well, this is not great. We drew so fucking poorly. So technically, this is our best hand. Maddie, you ready? Just 2 pair. Full house? Fucking full house cheating. Oh, damn it. Okay, we get the first resolution. Hey, Maddie. Do you remember how last turn we played Ricochet? Yeah. Ricochet. So Maddie opted to cheat just to get the full house, which is like, I don't know. It seemed like she needed to. Like she wasn't drawing a lot, so that seemed pretty good. So she gets to discard a shooter. So she loses 2 influence. We get the ghost rock back, and we take no casualties even though we lost, and we get a draw card. So all good stuff. Oh, I just hit something. Oh, that hides your hand. H hides your hand, chat. So we'll take it. Jenks is discarded. We get a draw card. Really good stuff. Ooh, that's a good card too. That's a really good card. So Maddie, now we get the 2 control back. We are very much on check. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, something's wrong here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Maddie has 3. I think we just have 2 too many. Yeah, I might have copied it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can make this 6 if we do a job here, which right now she could contest with Xiaodan. But who called who out? I called you out, I'm pretty sure. So Maddie, it's all you. We use Leon's kick, so like Downmay can do some work. And Maddie is in check, so if the day ends, and now because the fucking Xiaodan actually has influence, she's going to control our Carter's bounties, which is really good because that's a really strong ability. It means anyone from her backline can show up, and we're going to struggle to deal with that. Or are we? No, we are. It looks like she is 4 to 3, so she's still in check. So in theory, we could pass here and see what she does. In terms of people that have influence that control places, control things, there's only 3 of them. So we might be okay to hold on for a bit. Unfortunately, our people are kind of tied down a bit. Like if any of these people move, they have to boot. But they can go anywhere in theory. But this is a really strong ability for her to be controlling. We could also wait and play this. Right now she has to do something because she is in check. We do have more control than she has influence. She has money. She could play someone from hand. She only has 2 cards though. Maddie, we're going to pass. This is a really strong ability to just get in a fight. All right, she's playing 108 Righteous Band. Just move your dude to the location of one of your other dudes. So it doesn't have to boot. Downmay is just showing up to the Carter's bounty, still controlling it. She has 2 influence there, so nothing changes. She's still in check. I think we can still pass. Pass. How much influence do you have? Can't she go for a win? It seems unlikely. This is 1, 2 in theory, 3, 4, 5. It's possible. So Downmay is going to boot to go there. So now she takes another control. Not my whole stack. And you're right. In theory, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not in check. And now she's 3 to 3, so she's out of check. Or 4 to 3. I forgot she had this marker here. That's important. So I don't know. She could maybe push for a win here. It's just going to be very difficult. So let's see. She has 1 control, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that does line up. We could push Jake in. I'm just worried that Jake's gonna get kidnapped. Jake always ends up getting kidnapped. It's also worth noting that we could like boot Papa to go over here and we would control this place back, but a booted dude cannot call out somebody. So like while we might think, oh, Papa can go here and then we can call out or boot to go there, we can't start a fight. So you have to be unbooted to start a fight. Admittedly, if they are booted, they can't refuse a fight, which is obviously a big deal, but It's not gonna go great for us. We could do a job here. We should make it worth more on control point, but then Marias, who has to do the job, would go home booted, which is pretty hard. Still doing okay. We're not losing, we're not winning, and her people are in awkward positions. I think if we wait next turn for Leon to wake up, we might be in a good plot. There's like so much really cool chess going on now. This is my favorite part of the game. Not like going all in a shootout in turn 1. I feel like we could really fuck with someone. I feel like we could really do a good fight. I just don't want to send Jake to fight, you know? If we send one influence here, we can control this. So like Papa can move over there and control it, but then I feel like we have to. Man, this ability could be so good. She has the bounty move too? Yeah, she has this, and that's so important to know because even if we fight somewhere, Dalmei could join it. So we probably want to just fight directly on Dalmei. I think this is really scary. I think we have enough money coming in that we could maybe pass. We might actually just want to be annoying and move over there. The thing is like, Maddie, do you have a kidnapping in your hand? She says maybe. If we kidnap over there, it'd probably be better for us. She also can use this to boot her and move Dalmei back to Carter's bounties. I don't feel really good about anything here. We're going to pass. We just want to get a couple more spells. Our deck is really good when we have spells. All right, she's passing. End of day, we check. Nobody has more than the other. You unboot your cards, get rid of your passive stuff or your day-long stuff, and we go at it again. We're going to discard a card here. Honestly, probably not. I think we're good enough. We just really want to draw a hex here. Maybe we want to discard this, but this is a cheap control point, which could easily win the game. Like, we could have played this just to see what she'd done. It actually probably was right, but then she would have had more than us, so it's kind of a liability. I think we're going to not play more control. We're going to try and play to win a shootout. That actually does help us win a shootout. This does too. Uh-oh, Maddie's laughing. What's up? Uh-oh, she's laughing. All right, low ball. What's so funny? Nothing? I don't have something really cool. She says she doesn't have something really cool. Account and siphon. Account siphon incoming is what chat says. All right, what do you got, Maddie? 3-3-4-3. So she has 3 of a kind. Cheating as well. We're at already 3 of a kind cheating. So it's a worse 3 of a kind or better 3 of a kind than her. So we have a 3 of a kind cheating. So she wins that. Maddie, do you have a cheating resolution? Maybe. She says maybe. Okay, it looks like she's just gonna win low ball here. Maddie wins low ball. She gets the upkeep. It's important to know she doesn't get this upkeep. We just don't get it. So how much money does she make? 3, 4, 5, 6. She has to pay 1 and 3 for Dalmei if she wants Dalmei to stay around. You keeping Dalmei? Yeah. All right. So she's gonna get 3. We get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have to pay for 2 ticks and Leon. So we're gonna take a 5. And Maddie gets the first play. She's the winner of today. Winner is just what you call whoever has this token. It's a bit confusing when someone's called the winner. You get 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh yeah, thank you. I forgot the extra 2. You're right. Out of town. We forgot about that. Don't forget bad campaign. This is Maryland. It's a bit better. 2 for 2, right? Same res costs. All right, so Maddie's using the mayor's office to get Shelby an influence, which is really important because now Shelby has 1 influence, which means he can control things. It's only for the day too. It also prevents you from losing the day. I think like we need to just play some big guns here, and big guns is exactly what the Tattooed Man is. Huckster 3 is massive, one of the best in the game. He has Abomination, which does matter. It's a tribal. It means obviously that he's Abomination. It says whenever an ability discards a hex on Tattoo Man, you may place in your hand instead. Whenever ability aces a hex on Tattoo Man, you may place into your discard pile. So basically anything that damages a hex on him damages him less strongly. And he doesn't have any influence, but he can fight. What happened to the control on Epidemic? I don't know what happened to the control on Epidemic. That's a good question. There's 2 on it. Maddie should code something so that we can put a chip with a number on it. Yeah. That'd be smarter. Yeah, manga ass. Yeah, he can be a really big deal. I don't mind if this guy dies in a fight either, because he's not going to help me like control or influence to not lose. He's going to help me like win a fight. Maddie's using Asakichi. Discard a card to move one of your dudes from this location. The discard card is good for cycling, but at least, wow, if she's throwing out a cheating resolution, what else does she have in her hand? Am I right? So Shelby is coming in to the Epidemic Laboratory. That's pretty scary. Now Shelby's ability won't fire right now because there's equal bullets in what could probably be the opposing posse to Shelby. Maddie is holding on to 4 cards and did throw just out a cheating resolution. Hey Maddie, what was your first play that turn? Yeah, okay. We could just get in a shootout and boot everyone. That's sometimes pretty fun. Even if we lose the shootout. Sometimes it's good to do that, like mark a pestilence, boot everyone, and then you Willa May out. That's fun. It's also really annoying that after he does this, he can't be affected by other shootout abilities, so you kind of need to go first. Which this would be pretty good. Unfortunately, we don't go first. And also, it's worth noting that Maddie won't forget about Carter's bounties, which we fucking did, and it was a huge liability. Oh yeah, Maddie doesn't own Carter's bounties anymore because she lost the 1 daily influence, so we actually control this. Thank you, Maddie. So we have 1. Oh, we also should have got the upkeep for that. Whoops. So Maddie only has 0 influence there, and 0 does not beat ours. Oh yeah, I took from her money. Fucking account siphon. Let's go. All right, so that's pretty okay. This is interesting. Oh man, the pressure of playing this game that's like a real brain burner while explaining it and playing it terribly online, it feels bad. I hope we're gonna get through this and maybe win a game. Maddie does play this deck. Maybe not as aggressively, but she wins fights. Okay. Okay. I feel like no matter what, the tattooed man is just gonna come out here to get some options. It's back to you, Maddie. I wish he had some spells. He doesn't have spells. It's really important to fight with spells because of this thing. This thing comes out of nowhere. Alright, Maddie is using the 108 Righteous Bandits to move one of your dudes to location one of your other dudes. Willa May shows up. So even if this goes like absolutely tits up, Maddie can ace Willa to send it home. Sorry? That's a phrase. Tattooed Man can't control anything though. He doesn't have any influence, which I love that design part. Feeling okay about this. We could actually boot someone with Leon. I just don't know who we would want to beat. It might be good for us to move Leon here, and then we could consider booting Dalmay. But Dalmay can always, I technically can't move with Carter's bounties. It might be good to boot Dalmay, because she's exhausted her movement abilities. She basically every turn has Asakichi and 108, and she's used both of them. Yeah, we'll move Leon out. If Leon dies though, we're in a really bad spot, just because he has 2 influence. This is a good ability, but then if she moves it, we'll control it. But then she'll control this, which is probably better. It has to be adjacent, Maddie. Out of town. Yeah, it's the surveyor's office. So this can only move to adjacent or out of town, which is adjacent. But this is one of the cool ways to deal with out of town deeds, because it's really hard to move out there. You have to boot.
Okay, well, you know what? Shelby's calling out Ticks.
Shelby is calling out Ticks. That's the problem because Tattooed Man's gonna move in here. This is also a really good ability we haven't fired yet. We probably wanted to leverage this more. Yeah, Ticks will accept. Ticks is also really cool because he eats the brunt of anything else. Because they can't do things to Marias because he's a huckster. They have to do to Ticks. Ticks is a hell of a card. That's why you have to play 1 upkeep for this. Maddie, who is your posse?
Shelby and Willa.
Maddie says her posse is Shelby and Willa. Now Shelby's ability won't fire, but as soon as like Tattooed Man enters the posse, Shelby's ability will fire. So now there's some really weird fucking magic we have to do here about figuring out when he joins. Because as soon as he joins, Maddie is the first player, so she can do Shelby's ability, and then we can't use shootout abilities to counteract it. So there's a big chance that we don't actually want to add the Tattooed Man. Doomtown Pog, Burnipur, how's it going? Welcome. Happy April Fools. We've been teaching. Wait, don't you get 9? You get 7, 2 upkeep. It's been a while. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We paid 2, so we should have got 8. But I don't think we're gonna come down to the credits anyways on it. Maybe we messed it up. I forgot we had this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we paid 2. Should have been 8. Might have fucked it up. I don't think anyone's gonna join Maddie. I think it's just gonna be Ticks and Papa. It's public, so no one's wanted on the other side of the table, and these guys are still here. Maddie gets the first shootout play. She has a sun in her eyes, we just seen. She's we're not gonna be drawn really well. I wonder if we just do this. Ah, sun in your eyes. Choose the dude in that shootout again. -2 bullets come draw. Ticks becomes a 0 draw. That's pretty bad for us. We watch this play though. Unprepared, Maddie. Shelby becomes a 1 draw, and you can't use his ability. He's unprepared. Caught him without his real clothes on. Back to you. So 0 draw, 1 draw, can't use ability. For what it's worth, oh wow, we can actually unprepared Willa. I don't think it'll matter. If Willa dies, he goes home anyways. But we could, in theory, like make blank Willa's ability as well. Right now, she's drawn 6 flip and 2, which isn't anything. Each time a dude is ace as a casualty, the shooter and the other posse permanently gets 1 control point. What? We can definitely hear what she says. No way. Each dude in your posse gets +1 bullets. Wow. After each time any dude is ace as a casualty, the shooter and the opposing posse permanently gets 1 control point. Ace this card. Woo! This is truly a fight we'll never forget. I love this game, but I only play Dead Man's Hand decks. Yo, Burr, I've never played a Dead Man's Hand deck. How do you do it? You have to thin your deck, right? Okay, that's crazy. So we can't play Headline. But check this out, because Shelby's been blanked, he's now still a 2-draw. We're not worried about his like up hunting ability, so we're gonna boot the Carter's Bounties because we control it, and the Tattooed Man's gonna join to give us a 3-stud. Cool thing about a Tattooed Man is he can't be affected by any shootout plays because Tix protects all hucksters, and the Tattooed Man is a huckster. So that was our brain chest there to make sure everything happens in the right order because she was a player. If she wasn't the first player, we could have just booted him to maybe join and unprepared straight up. But hey, if this shootout doesn't go her way.
Well, I have a question about Tick.
Yeah, what's up?
It says that they can legally choose to affect him.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
There's some cards that say like only play, like ace somebody with value less than that. Like if it doesn't work on Tix, you can't do it to Tix. Like Tix only draws the shootout that can target him. You can reduce the bullets that are 0. It doesn't go negative, but you can. He's still legally a target, or it's still legally a target. Played some degenerate Eagle Warden's deck that culled down to DMH values, but I loved Law Dog DMH. I really gotta try some DMH decks. For those who don't know what Burr is talking about in chat, DMH is Dead Man Hand, which if you draw exactly that hand at the top, 8/8 ace ace jack, it's 11. It's like almost impossible to beat. It's by far the best hand. All right, Maddie passes. Oh, Tix! I need him. So Tix is a 0-draw. We have a 3-stud. Willa is 0-draw. Shelby is 2-draw. So lowering her bullets doesn't matter because we're assuming Shelby is going to be the shooter. So lowering that shouldn't matter too much. We could unprepared, which would prevent anybody from being ace. Oh, shoot, get aced anyways. I feel like we don't have to unprepared. Are we really worried about an extra draw? Are we worried about an extra draw? Do you need those suits for DMH? Yes, it has to be exactly that. Those suits, those numbers, those colors. No fucking around. Joker does count, because Joker you can make into anything, but no fucking around. Maddie, do we play this? I'm scared. I'm scared, chat. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna unprepared fucking Shelby again, I guess. So he's a 1-draw. Back to you. We pass as well. So Maddie, how many did you draw? 6 flip 2? Yeah. All right, we're gonna draw 5, 6, 7, 8 flip 2. All right, that's a lot of cards. Feels good. All right, we have some options already. Question is, what are we gonna flip? I would like to flip probably this, probably those two, and hope for the best. We could absolutely ruin ourselves here. But I don't think we want to cheat. Maddie has a lot of cards in hand. It hasn't played a cheating resolution on us just yet. Maddie has 2 cards in hand? Yeah. Maybe she doesn't have a cheating resolution. Maybe we can just cheat. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe we can just cheat, chat. We'll push our luck here. Oh, we probably wanted to do this, actually. No. Yes. Yes. Yes, chat. We did it. We fucking did it. We played poker really well. We're so good at poker. Chat, we're so good at poker. What do you got, Maddie? She says, hold on. Okay. Okay. 4 of a kind cheating? All right. 4 of a kind legal. So Maddie gets the first resolution. We're not cheating, so she can play a regular resolution. After that, we can play regular or cheating resolutions. Which I can say I gotta go play some melee. Stay safe. Hey, you too. Stay safe. That's not legal. Yeah, Maddie, that's not legal. Maddie's passing. Here we go. Hex slinging. Discard a hex from your dude in your posse to raise your draw hand rank by 2. This is a very core card in a lot of hex decks. So we're going to discard Massive Pestilence. So now our hand rank is 2 above tie, so Maddie has to take 2 casualties. Maddie's going to ace Willa, so our shooter permanently gets 1 control point. Because Or she was a tattoo man because of a fight they'll never forget. And now Maddie sends Shelby home booted. That's Willa's ability. If the shootout goes really bad, and we could have aced Willa, but it really doesn't change anything. Getting home booted is good enough. She just sent him home booted after. The school teacher dies and the fight gets sad. All right, we won that one. And Maddie also has to ace this card because there's only so many fights you'll never forget. All right, Maddie, who called who out? I feel like you called me out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 5. Maddie is at 1, 2, 3, 4 influence only. We're at check.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
We're at check right now. Yo, what's up, Cephalopod? I have a core set of this game, and I might be behind to be able to play it. Is there any kind of document like the most wanted list I should know about? Yes, there is an errata list, but if you have just the core set, I don't think anything functionally matters. In the core set, I think there's just some functional changes, but if you're just playing in a core set environment, it doesn't matter. As soon as you go further than that, there are like 2 cards or 2 or 3 cards. I think 2 cards that are straight banned from the game and from organized play. And then there's some cards that have like minor rewords. I think only 2 of those cards are in the core set, but like, no, have fun. Literally don't worry about it. And if you want to do print and play or order cards, the starter decks that they offer online are dope. They're really, really good. So, sorry, Matt, it's all you. Oh, really? Yeah. Maddie says it's us. Now we don't have to do anything. Maddie called us out. We don't have to do anything because we've checked her. We always have this as a pocket play if we really need to. So she needs to start controlling things. She's used her influence gaining thing. Zhaodan doesn't have influence. People that she has on the board that are worth influence is only Asakichi. Shelby is worth an influence, but he can't move right now. And Long Wei. But if Long Wei comes out of town, all her shooters get a lot worse. So we're pretty good for Long Wei to come out. And we can also just like boot someone as soon as they like get out somewhere, so that's really strong. We actually might want to just go ahead and boot Leon to boot Dao Mei so there's no tricks, because Dao Mei is one of the only people that she can control places with. But we'll wait. I think Leon will be better because he's adjacent to every location on town square, so as soon as Maddie moves in somewhere, we just boot them, which is great. Maddie, I'm gonna pass. Asakichi booting to move all the way over there, getting control of the Hellstrom plant. So we still have 4 control to 4 influence, so we haven't lost yet. Asakichi, for what it's worth, is booted. So if we can get someone there and call her out, she can't refuse. The problem is getting someone there is pretty difficult. The only person who can move there without booting is Leon, and Leon isn't particularly good. I feel like we might have fucked up here. We might have wanted to boot her earlier, so she couldn't do that play. I feel like the thing that we said is a good strat might not have been a good strat. Because now she has tied us. That's bad. We could just go in here with Leon, though. I think we will. Leon's gonna move into the... Wait, maybe we're gonna get... What's the chance? What's the chance that she's gonna kidnap Leon? She's laughing. If I move in there and Leon gets kidnapped, it might be GG. We can't lose 2 influence. We can't, right? Can Jake save the day, Maddie? Jake, go! We were playing a game the other day, and there's an alternate art Jake where Jake becomes this horrid clown because there's a story that's ongoing that people interact with that play the game, and we gave Jake a sword, and he almost killed Long Wei, just charged across the whole town square. I really like this game also because the main cards that you interact with are characters, and because we played so much and I've read a bit of the story, they actually have narrative, like they have flavor. Like Jake is a bit of a fool. Can control locations. He can during sundown when you check who wins the game. So you're right, he can't control it in the middle of the day, but once it's sundown, he technically controls it, and sundown is when you check if you have more control than influence. So Jake isn't valuable now, but at the end of the day, Jake comes in at the last minute. It's a funny story. Fuck. I don't know what to do. I think we have to do something aggressive with Papa Marias. I think we do have to do something aggressive with Papa Marias. Who are we worried about moving? I think we're worried about Dao Mei moving. I'm just going to head on Leon boot Dao Mei. So we're trying to do a skill check at Ace, which is a 1. By the way, Ace is low. I never said that at any point. Ooh, got really close there. There's a 2 in this deck? What the fuck, deck? Why? So 3 is still bigger than Ace. 2 plus 1, that boots Dao Mei. Unfortunately, Leon's booted, so if someone calls him out, he has to fight, but... At least we can call him the Tattooed Man as backup if that comes to it. We also can do this job here, which is totally worth doing at some point. Why is there a 2 in this deck? Maddie passes, which makes sense. Right now, she only has one person that move that's worth influence. One person that can move that's worth influence. Hit the job, play the Bears, win the game. I think that's right. I think that's totally right. But we also can do aggressive stuff with Papa because Papa's ability lets a huckster come to him, which means he can call out somebody. So right now, even we could like move Papa here and then bring in the tattooed man who will be able to unboot it to call it Asakichi. Like we have some really cool plays. We have some really cool plays. I think we need to do cool plays. But I'm going to stress Maddie out first. Hey, Maddie, Bears building and loans. That's a control point. Check.
Why do you think this will stress me out?
Maddie says, why do you think this will stress me out? I don't know. I was hoping it would. Check. We're at 5. Oh, Benji!
Oh, cat needs a cuddle.
Cat needs a cuddle time. Uh-oh. All right. So it's up to Maddie to do something. Even if she like shootouts and wins against Leon, which then the tattooed man could join to fight, she's not going to win the game. So if things are feeling okay. Hey, Maddie, I don't know how the cuddle is going, but we're going to hit the pass.
Okay.
I feel like we don't have to do anything here. This is a scary ability if she controls it, because she can maybe like... I guess she has all the money in the world. Never mind, this doesn't matter. What if both players have more control than the other player's influence? I don't know. I think you check who has more control and then check who has more influence. Also, if this game goes to time in a tournament, it looks at whoever has the most influence after the most control. It gets really nuanced and weird. But honestly, I forget. I forget what happens. Maybe you just go to the next day. It rarely happens. But that's totally worth knowing. Maddie is really... Oh, fucking Long Way's coming out, right? Is it Jake's time to kill Long Way finally?
No, Benji's gonna call out Leon.
Benji's calling out Leon. Okay. Leon has to accept because he's booted. So Maddie has to build her posse first. So there's 3 people that can join the posse. 2 people, sorry. Longway can boot to join, which would be... It wouldn't be the worst, but he'd be booted, which would be bad. Xiaodan can boot to join because he's adjacent. And that's it. It's just them 2? Huh. I'm going to boot Tixon. This might be wrong. We have no hand. Maddie? You get the first shootout play if you like. She says no thanks. I'm going to say no thanks. So this is kind of a Hail Mary. So Maddie, how many are you drawing?
Oh, Lord. 5, 6, flip 2.
Yeah, I'm on 7, flip 2. If you don't know in Tabletop Simulator, you can hit the number while hovering over your deck and it'll draw that many cards. I hit W and it made a sound. Oh, that's Maddie shuffling your deck. Okay, I was worried I fucked the board up. All right, pretty okay start, but the ending here is awkward. We do have a straight, which isn't particularly good. So we got to flip 2 of these, or we can only flip 1 of these. Chat, which one are we flipping? It's obviously like a huge swing. We just need to get 1 pair. So like right now we're kind of shooting dark. Oh, we're so gonna lose this. It's fine though, right? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Even if they die, I think we're still okay. I think. I don't know. We gotta flip 1 of these. Cinco, do you want to call the shot on this one? If you know your deck a bit better, you can do something a bit smarter here. But we could go for like what we definitely have. I'm pointing at the screen so you can't see. We definitely have 1 of these. This one, then into this, into this, into this, into this. My calls have not been good. That's technically true. How the fuck is there a 2 in this deck? Why is that a choice? Alright, we'll just pull whatever we have fewest stuff in here. 9. Flip the queen. Okay, I'm doing that. For what it's worth, like, Maddie knows we don't have cards in hand, so like she can pretty freely cheat. Yeah, good enough. Good enough. Ready, Maddie?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Full house.
Full house as well. You're cheating? You get the first resolution. She is cheating. She has 2 aces of hearts. She has none, neither do I. So when you tie, you both take 1 casualty. We're gonna lose ticks. Technically, Maddie has a lower hand rank because her values are lower than I, so she's gonna decide first whether she wants to run away or not. She says no thanks. I'm going to run away. I don't have anything advantage in this fight. Maddie called me out, so it's now my turn. Oh, tattooed man, sorry, is still here. 5? No, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, am I fucking this up?
Yeah.
Oh no, because tattooed man, I'm on 5.
Okay, so you're
Yeah, you're still checked. Maddie has 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, because she also has Hellstrom. Oh, long way's coming out! Long way's coming out! Jake, it's your time to shine! Alright, so now long way doesn't give everyone a passive benefit, so like it's easier now to call out Asakichi. I'm still gonna pass to see how this goes. Benji's moving in there. Uh-oh. She can't win if you succeed the job. I think she still can. You could just win any shootout. Benji's coming in there? It's best for us to call her out now, just because if we don't call her out now. The thing is also, if we succeed the job, not only Hail Mary, but if we do the job, anyone who does the job has to go home booted. So even if we do the job, we lose a lot of presence on the board. Because say Tattooed Man solos the job, and I don't know if Maddie would contest it, it has to go home booted. I guess it says man. I think we're in our best interest to call her out now. I feel like we're more than likely to win the fight. I just don't know if she has any shootout plays that deal with the Tattooed Man, which would be an issue. Maddie, Tattooed Man's going to call out Benji. Yeah, she accepts. She really has to at this point. My posse is... we could throw in Jake, actually. But I feel like Jake is worth something here because he can just move over. It's also maybe it was a better play just to have Papa go over to the Pettigrews and then split her army. My posse is just the two of them. All right, so Longway is going to join. It's public, so no, nothing here. Maddie, you get the first shootout play. Make him sweat. Boot your dude to reduce another dude's bullets ratings by your dude's bullets ratings. Who's you can't do that. All your dudes are boot. Oh, you just booted Benji. Okay, so Tattooed Man has -1 bullet. He's 2 stud. Still pretty good. Yeah. Okay. It's back to us. We're gonna pass. All right. So Maddie draws 6 flip 1. We draw 7 flip 1. So in theory, we're favored. We haven't been drawing particularly well, though. A lot of our deck has to do with hexes, and we're just not consistently getting that off the table. All right, I think we can maybe hold on to that and hope for the best. And we can flip 1, so it's the queen and king. We threw out the queen last time, that worked. Okay. This could go terribly for us. I'm going to see her discard pile. The thing we're worried about is not in here. These two are. So we're just hoping she doesn't have the other one. Maddie, what do you got? Full house cheating and full house cheating as well. You get the first resolution if you like. Fuck yeah, she doesn't have it. Yeah, Snake Whip incoming, exactly. Coach Whip. We don't either. So we both tie. We both have to take 1 casualty. So we're going to lose... I think Papa we have to lose. So we're going to lose an influence on that, which is, you know, scary. Maddie has the lower hand, so she can choose first to fight or not. To flee or not, excuse me. I got you. Do you want to flee?
No.
Alright. So he's still a 2 stud, I'm pretty sure. If we flee, he goes home booted, and then Maddie will have control here. Actually, Maddie already has control here. We're going to lose this one, chat. We're going to lose this one. We're very checked. We have to win this. Longwei Fu going in. Yeah, Longwei Fu is going in. It was probably better, like, everything in retrospect, but if we just moved our guy over here, we'd be in a much better situation because then Maddie's split. Like, we could go to the mayor's office, so even if we don't control this, we get 2. Like, we probably shouldn't have fought that because Maddie's Hail Marrying this, so we're going to Hail Mary it as well. Having no cards in hand, obviously, the biggest problem. 7, 2, 3. This is why you do these, but then we never trust them. 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you have 7. So even if we do the best and move Leon over here, like we're 5 to 5. Yeah, we actually could tie if we don't take this fight, and then she can't contest it. Do we take a tie off of this position? Well, we only have 3 dudes. She doesn't have a cheating resolution in hand, from our understanding. She could be holding it off onto whatever. What the fuck is this 1 card? Is it the second Dao Mei? What is it? It's a fucking kidnapping. Let me tell you. All right, we don't know what to do here. Like, we could just take the loss here and move it home booted. Or we could go in on a 7 versus 6 and hope we draw well. Maddie has both jokers out at this point. Maddie's chanting fight, which, what the fuck is in her hand? The thing is, like, if they both die and we just take one casualty each, like, we lose a control point, but we get 2 back. She loses 2. It's much better. I think we're gonna play the defensive one. You have 4 influence, no? Even if you take control of the mayor's office, you'd be at 4 influence over 5. We're at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you're totally right. Yeah, you're totally right. We have to take it. Yeah, you're totally right. We have to take this fight. Yeah, Maddie, we're fighting. You get the first shootout play. Thank you. We would have lost. Yeah, no thanks from us as well. You drawing 6, I'm drawing 7. May luck be with you. It's not a good start, is it? Okay. That's this motherfucker's ruining our day. Well, that's bad. That's bad. We drew 2 off values. Like, she's not part of the draw structure of our deck because she died. So, like, that's really unfortunate. And this card, I don't know why this isn't in our fucking deck. That's a terrible card. It's probably the wrong one. I probably added the wrong one into the deck. Hold on. Hold the phone. I might have just did the deck code wrong. Because in theory, there's another Mika that is a 9. That would make more sense for our deck. I think we put the wrong Mika into the deck. This is probably the Mika that's meant to be in our deck. So that would make sense. Does that improve our hand that much? No. Maddie, what do you got?
Are you ready?
No.
Are you ready?
I'm a fucking straight, Maddie.
2 pairs.
Oh! Oh! Maddie has 2 pairs! Cheating too! Oh my god, our straight did it! Our straight did it! 2 pairs. That's 2 casualties, Maddie. Is Longway finally getting aced? If Longway ever gets aced, you know you win the game, right? Longway is ace. Not only does Maddie lose an influence, not only does we get the 2 control back, but Longway is aced, and that's the most important thing. No, that's Maddie. We have not won a game. We need this. Longway is dead. Maddie called. I called you out? No, you called me out. Okay, so if Maddie doesn't have a dude in her hand, in her hat, what's in your hand? Oh, it's on your table. It's on the table. We can easily win the game here if we pass because we have more control than she has influence. We're just gonna hit that good old pass. We got it. We got it. Wait, yeah, you're right. Wait, hold on. Jake, go. Jake is now the mayor. And Jake finally does it. All Jake needed to do was be the mayor, and he finally did it. I gotta show you the other Jake. I need to check if this deck has the wrong Mika in it. I'm convinced I put the wrong Mika in it. I need to update that to the TTS mod or whatever. Good game, Maddie. Maddie, you want to come out and say hi? Yeah, okay. Cool. That's Doomtown. That's April 1st. It's technically no longer April Fool's. We'll be back tomorrow playing some Netrunner content. I just want to show that off. Hopefully we did a good enough job teaching this. Unfortunately, the SEO is going to be absolutely buried where no one's going to see this. Hey, Maddie. That's Maddie playing in the other room. That's this Nanico.
Here's Nanico.
How's it going? Maddie and I have been playing this casually for a while now. The rules are, you know, a bit obtuse at times where we still fuck it up. I fucking forgot I had Carter's Bounties on that thing that I lost Valyria. Valyria. Oh, it's terrible.
Yikes.
But thanks for playing. Thanks for participating in this.
Is anyone I know in here?
It's not a very active chat because the Doomtown scares people off. But that's quite okay. Cool. This will exist as a VOD. But Cinco, at least, thanks for joining. We actually had players jump in that were into Doomtown. They were like, holy shit. Someone specifically jumped in that said they're specifically playing only Dead Man's decks.
I really want to build a deck for that. I really do.
Seems like a wild thing. David just logs in. What? How's it going? That's it for today. Thanks so much. Try out Doomtown if you can. I'll try and publish a TTS mod. I don't know if it's a crime or not because I don't own any of this stuff. Even some of these textures are just from the internet and I don't own them. I'm excited to be here and would be interested in more. Fuck yes, Cephalopod. Good night. Cool to hear. I'll let you know if we publish this because I honestly don't know the legality of it, so I'll do a bit of research. I also probably will just use textures that I know don't belong to anyone particularly because these textures I ripped off of Google because I wanted to make them today. It's also worth knowing that a lot of these things don't come with the game. Like past tokens are just a thing. This is not a thing that comes with the game, unfortunately. I guess it's on the boards, but we always just pull this up on our phone. Yeah. I can't believe this isn't on a card at this point. Yeah.
Well, it's on the mat that you start with.
Yeah, but that mat is so tiny. It has space for 4 deeds on it, and everything's still cramped. This is just an American quarter. That's all. We'll be back tomorrow. Happy April Fools, y'all. Hopefully that was good enough fun, and we'll be back playing some Netrunner tomorrow. Thanks, Manny.
Bye.
Ciao. Thanks everyone for being in chat. Thanks everyone watching the VOD. And we'll be back tomorrow.